Dead in Game, and this is the pre-show.
How is it? Is it live right now still?
Yeah,
they can see us. So since we're gonna talk football, let's talk basketball for the little pre-show. So did y'all? Larry didn't know this, but did y'all hear the rumor for Ben Simmons for D'Angelo Russell?
I seen that in the chat.
Yeah, I'm about to say you put that in the group. Yeah, you gotta be in the group me more. Shit.
He be showing up when he was
right. We be live in that group me. I be waiting up like, damn, people, when you gonna come in? When you gonna? And then
people show up one time, drop something,
right, and then leave. Right.
He should.
I be like, damn.
Oh, audio's all the way out.
That's just
there we go.
But I don't understand that trade. But I understand trying to move off of Ben Simmons. I don't understand that move though.
Why?
Because Ben Simmons doesn't help.
I agree.
Golden State?
He doesn't. No, I'm saying he doesn't help Philly. I understand why Philly would want to move him.
This year, yeah, but
you don't think Ben Simmons helps?
I've been telling y'all.
No, you've been on.
I think Philly doesn't do well with developing talent.
No,
I think when it comes to what the process that they've been doing, it's been all about like we just think that if we collect a good enough roster, it'll work itself out. Like, nah, you need good coaching.
I can hear you.
Really? I
You can hear me? I can hear
I hear everybody.
Nobody through my headphones.
All right,
I can hear y'all, but I just can't.
Look down here, see if it.
No,
So me hearing you means your mic is on.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, he just needs
He just can't
feedback.
hear everybody else.
Gotcha.
So his headphone is not.
But no, I just think that Philly just they've done it wrong. Like I honestly think that they outside of Joel Embiid, they may need to try to reboot. Now that's me being extreme, but right now if they're willing to trade off Ben Simmons, that says a lot to me.
Well, here's the thing.
They can't trade Ben Simmons, bro.
Yes, they can.
They cannot.
They
can.
should.
Here's the thing. This is the thing I was telling Larry.
Because he's part of.
You have to look at how Philly's presently constructed, right? And then you have to make a decision. Who is it easier to build this current roster around, Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid? And you got to trade one or the other, right?
And it's the obvious choice is easier to build around Joel because he could do everything that the
on
current
this
NBA.
roster. No. On this with this roster, it's a better Joel Embiid roster than it is Ben Simmons roster.
That's what he's saying.
Is that what you said?
I'm saying it's better to stick with Joel than Ben Simmons.
Why?
Because Joel Embiid fits 2020 era of
Basketball.
basketball, and Ben Simmons
that's not
does
what
not.
I'm saying. And that's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and I think Ben Simmons fits 2020 basketball. It just depends on the team that's built around him.
see, if you got to have an asterisk on
What do you
as a
mean?
player, to me, you should be able to like
No.
Kawhi can fit on any team in the NBA,
Facts.
right?
But there's only like 5 of those
Anthony
guys.
Davis can fit on any team,
there-
but he's supposed to
but
be
he's
one
gonna
of these
get hurt.
guys.
But there's only 5 of those guys.
But he came in saying like he's supposed to be a Hall of Famer talent level type of dude.
And there's Hall of Famers that you had to build particular things around them.
Like
Right.
who?
Patrick Ewing.
All Hall of
David
Famers you had to
Robinson.
build around him. Michael Jordan was not winning championships his first few
Until
years in the
you
league.
build.
You had to build.
Exactly.
Every superstar's like
But
that.
But
bro.
the thing
with
about-
the exception being Magic.
But there aren't
But he
many.
came already. The team was already loaded.
Exactly.
When they got
That's right.
And there's not many interchangeable Hall of Famers.
Well,
That's the
The thing I
difference.
would say about the reason why is I don't really understand what's going on with Ben Simmons is because, like you were talking about with Michael Jordan and all those other players, they work on their game to get better.
That is correct.
As they're getting their ass whooped, they be like, all right, this is where I fucked up. This is
That's
what I
right.
learned.
LeBron
For the
did that
last-
too.
For the last 3 years, then when he got into the league, we been saying he need to learn how to shoot.
Yeah.
And what has he been working on?
It's
FIFO-
all about the attempt,
FIFO
though.
this summer, FIFO blasted the chat talking about some brothers nigga got a jump shot. We see in the pregame.
We saw he hit a
preseason,
three, yeah.
He hit a three. The whole crowd go out.
Yeah.
What the?
I've been telling
Kyle
you.
put in the chat. Ben Simmons, 96 or 95+% of his shots come within 5 feet of the basket.
Mhm.
Facts.
Come on, bro.
And
What
are
are we
you done?
talking about?
Are you done? Wait, hold on. Let me get this out.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
He
Ken.
has been working on his jump shot. It's been documented. The evidence was what people say. He took 200 some jumpers a day. What I said in the interview that I read is he don't take them in the game.
That's
Right.
the
His
problem.
coach said the same thing.
Yeah.
He can shoot it. He's developed his jump shot. He just, for whatever reason,
He don't think it's
take
gonna
them
go
in
in.
the
And to me, that reminds me of DJ Khaled being on Weight Watchers. It makes no sense. Because we
I
see this
agree.
nigga working
Yes,
out. We see this nigga doing all this shit, but there's no results
It's
from
not
it.
ability. Is his reluctance to take it
It's
in the game
mental.
for whatever reason. I think he's just being stubborn. I think he's tired of people talking about his jump shot all the time. And I think that's why he's doing it. Because he literally said that I can do everything great, so why should I have to take them?
Because we're trying to win championships. That's why, Ben. We're not going to win a
He's
championship
young.
with
It's
him doing
mentality.
it.
You got to get over that.
Here's the thing. Like, I think Ben Simmons can work in a multitude of places. Like, if you extract him and Jimmy Butler in Miami, Miami still does. It's still
I
successful.
totally disagree. No, you cannot. Because first
You-
of all,
you seen
Jimmy
all them
Buckets,
shooters on that squad?
Jimmy Buckets has a mentality and an edge to him that's a winner. I can see Jimmy Buckets getting a championship before Ben Simmons. I can see
I
the
don't see
Heat
it.
beating the 76ers in the playoffs.
I don't see that either.
Keep watching. I think I can see it happening. Absolutely.
You know
especially
why?
when y'all talk about like the growth of the players on the Heat, and
Of course.
all of them have like that dog mentality.
But what happens in the playoffs? The first thing that happens, just in the game,
It's going to come down to, can you put the ball in the basket
No,
or can you stop the people
it
from putting the ball
slows
in the
down.
basket? That's right.
and they don't have nothing for Joel. Nothing.
Well, we don't know which Joel is going to show up. We don't even know if he's going to be healthy enough in the playoffs.
That is true.
So don't even come at me with Joel Embiid,
So
bro.
wait, hold on. So are we really gonna sit here and say over the last 2 years Joel Embiid hasn't been healthy?
But he's been in the league longer than 2 years, bro.
He's been in the league 4.
Right. So half of the time you ain't available.
Let me ask you this: What's been the big impact of Joel Embiid on the league since he's been in?
There is no other big man that affects the offensive and defensive sides the way he does.
And have you
Defensive side?
Yeah.
And have you seen have you seen those results in big game situations when it counts?
Yeah. It's just not.
What
not
would you say?
What do you mean?
Because the last thing I remember is that Kawhi got a shot over him.
Right.
Okay.
The year before that, Boston knocked him out in the second round.
okay.
And
That was it for him.
those are the only
but
those are the big moments he's been in so far.
And to
Everything else
piggyback off of what you're saying, my problem with Embiid, aside from I don't think that he's very brittle. He's going to get hurt. He's not consistent. So he's not and I think that he's received this criticism from Shaq and from Barkley. You need to show up game
Every
in
night.
and game out.
28 and
Especially
10.
when we in the playoffs, you need to be a dog every night.
Yeah.
Especially if the team is
level
being
should
built
go up.
around
So-
you.
Giannis got put out by Kawhi too. Like I don't.
But
your-
we've seen
your
Giannis
example.
No. But even earlier, Giannis was worse than what Ben Simmons and
What is
Joel
Gian-
Embiid is now.
What is Giannis now? Giannis,
But how long has Giannis been in the
and-
league?
No, I
8 years.
And I've seen
Was
him.
Giannis the MVP last year?
Yes,
And he got put out by Kawhi.
but
Yes.
But why do I see
And
more?
then Kawhi lock him down.
But
And
why-
then Giannis lose 4 straight times to Kawhi.
But why do I see more heart out of the
But I
MVP
think that
than
loss, Ken, was more with coaching than it was with Giannis. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Toronto came up with the wall, and they wouldn't let Embiid come down that lane. So Budenholzer, I think that's his name, he's got to identify that
I
and then
agree
come
with
up with
you.
something
but,
else
but
different
I brought that
works.
up just to say he said Kawhi got a shot over Embiid, so he's pointing out one thing and not acknowledging the other. And,
Okay,
you know,
I
talking
feel
about-
what
no.
you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying is that when we talk about Embiid, you both of y'all are really high on Embiid. Y'all even
Can you hire on
alike-
Embiid too?
Oh, he a beast.
liken him to Akeem Olajuwon. Y'all think that he has
Oh,
that potential?
come on.
And I said the same thing. And I was saying
That's
like
the hot side.
Oh.
Okay.
and I was saying, what are y'all basing this on? Because when we see this guy in these big games where you're supposed to step up, and granted he's young, so of course we'll give him more time. Is he still in the 3 to 5 year range?
Yeah.
So
Year 4.
but he's in the latter half of that 3 to 5 years. It's like, at what point do you be like, all right, we did all this, it's not working, we need to change things?
What did Giannis do in his 4 big games when he lost 4 straight to Kawhi?
He lost 4 in a row to Kawhi?
Yeah, they went up. They went up 2-0.
2-zip.
They were
and then-
dominating.
and
Kawhi
You're
got
right.
on
on
him.
4th Street.
You're right.
And what I saw after that, he took his L, but he got an MVP trophy out of it. He took his L, and he came back this season hot.
Well, let me ask you this, Ken. Do you see a difference so far in the early NBA season between Giannis this year and Giannis last year?
They're about the same. I think it's more mentality. I think he's bitter about the loss, about losing. He's definitely taking way more jumpers to counteract what they did to him in the playoffs last year. And he has a desire and a hunger and a thirst to win.
So this is my deal. I agree with everything you said. I think his next step, the step that's going to get him to championship level, is to be able to see what are they doing to me and what am I going to do about it.
Same thing
As opposed
like
to just
LeBron,
putting your head. Same thing. I agree. Same thing as LeBron. I'm just going to put my head down and go to the basket every time. How are you defending me and how am I going to do this? And I also think Giannis has an opportunity to better include his teammates, and I think that's another level of a step up from him.
Yeah. All right, let's y'all really started, if you ask me. Love the basketball conversation. All right, let's go ahead and do the official intro. Sorry about that, y'all. We're just trying to get everything set up, and I realized I ain't have any audio. I don't want y'all bitching at me like y'all did last time. So,
You get mad at them for you?
hey, yeah. All right. This is the place where sports opinions collide. Dead in Sports. I'm your host, Kenneth B. Inge. Joining me, as usual, we got FIFO 2020.
Thank you, sir.
BZ 430.
What up, though?
We got Nikki Duce.
AKA, it's your boy.
And joining us on the show for the first time, this is second show we've had a guest.
Mm-hmm.
We got Larry Jr. from
All Over It, the All Over podcast. Happy to be here with the homies.
Appreciate having you on the show. And FIFO, Larry, whichever, can you give the people listening an overview of what the show is and where they can find it, where they can find you, and all the other good stuff?
Yeah, so we happy to be on a Dead End roster. All over, you can find us at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. And our show is basically grown folks talking about grown things. And we cover all things. So we go from sex to music to relationships and more. So do yourself a favor and check out All Over It. We have 4 phenomenal hosts on there. We have Dr. Lovejoy, we have Terry Sean, and we have our music guy, Young COD, Beat Maker King, and you also have myself, Larry Jr. Funny. So yeah, I'm happy to be part of the roster, happy to participate in the sports conversation today, and do yourself a favor and check out All Over It. As soon as you can.
100%, because I edit the podcast, and let me tell you, I be cracking my ass up listening to them. These guys, they look, if you enjoy anything Dead in hip hop, you will enjoy it All Over. I promise you that.
Yeah, and I co-sign on that because I've been listening to their releases so far, and I can't wait to the one that we did.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, you're coming up. You're coming up, homie.
Yeah.
So we was real happy to have Nick,
yeah.
Participate. So, Nick, how would you describe your experience on the show, man?
It was. I can't even describe it. I think you just need to listen to it. But it was definitely great conversation, and we were definitely all over it. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dope. And you say where they can find you at on Twitter or wherever?
On Twitter, you can find me at Larry Jr. Funny. Okay. On Instagram, you can find me at Larry Jr. Funny. I think I got a Facebook page at Larry Jr. Funny.
All right, cool. So if you enjoy the takes this brother is about to spew on this podcast, you see who we got him sitting beside.
Yeah, that's the hot side.
So that should tell y'all what y'all need to know.
Nick, I don't feel like you prepared me for this side. I don't understand. I don't understand what they're saying about the hot side.
What they're saying is that I'm usually alone on this side.
Really?
Because
so
I'm the one who is going against the crew. I'm always going the uphill battle.
So do you go against the crew or you just speak your truth?
The way I am, that's how they see me. They see me as the enemy, but I'm really their friend. But the takes that I have.
Because working with you on our podcast on All Over It, you speak the truth. And you speak your
I always say I speak for the streets. They don't listen to me.
Okay. I hear you, bro. I'm happy to be on the hot side. Put it that way.
All right, man. We're going to primarily talk about and recap the games from yesterday. And we may jump into a little basketball, no promises, because the game come on at 3. And we got another podcast scheduled to record right after us. So let's go ahead and first of all, I apologize. I'm going to just come out the gate. I apologize to the city of Baltimore. I apologize to Lamar Jackson. I apologize to the Ravens, Big Trust, everybody. My fault, y'all.
They lied.
My fault, y'all. But I realized, as you can see by the title, that it wasn't my fault. It was Drake.
We started 2020 the way we end 2019 with blaming Drake.
Yeah. I mean, it's real, man. So let's get into it.
First question I got. We gonna start off with, I guess, the best game of the week so far. The Titans versus the Ravens. And my question for y'all: who deserves the most blame for it? Lamar Jackson or John Harbaugh?
I'm gonna say John Harbaugh. And before we started recording, is the mic still on? Go check that out, by the way, if you haven't already. And everything else that we were doing today. You saw the rust on that squad. And I know that team isn't going to admit to that. But when you miss or drop wide open balls, it's just because you're not in the rhythm. And football is all about choreography. And choreography, you got to be in that rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Consistently. And the fact that they took off week 16, the starters took off week 16, then they had a bye, and then you asked them to play
week 17.
Week 17, I'm sorry. Week 17, then you have a bye, and then you want them to go play against a very physical football team that has been pretty much in playoff mode from the middle of the season. And then also
practicing is different from game speed.
100%.
Hey, can I piggyback or jump in real quick? So let me ask you this question. I agree with you. I think that team was mad rusty, and so you can put the blame on John Harbaugh, as I would. So my question would be, what was you doing to keep these brothers fresh? Because I think he would have gotten very little feedback or pushback from, I'm not going to play you the last week of the season. You don't want nobody to get hurt. We already cinched. Why I put my boys out there? I get that. But what was you doing to keep them sharp? Because whatever you was doing, that wasn't working. Because they were not sharp.
Well, I think that John Harbaugh has been here before, right? And I think that he has my utmost respect as a head coach.
Facts. He has a championship.
He has a championship. And I think that he did as much as possible. You practice, you put people on. You know what I'm saying?
You can't say he did as much as possible because they didn't win.
Right.
But let me go where I was going.
Trying to shoot him some bail.
I think that this is something that the league has to look at. And Nick, you pointed out a number. You said that the last number 1 seeds that had a first round bye are 9-5 in the playoffs.
We're 9-6 now.
Not 9-6 now. You know what I'm saying? And again, it goes back to the point of being in rhythm and having that choreography down pat. So I propose, right, because the NFL is about money. Let's not have a round that you skip. Let's play three actual rounds. And if you get the first seed, you just play the weakest opponent. But I don't think that they should have a week off.
But what's the incentive of being a number 1 seed?
You play the weakest opponent.
Or the top 2
You
seed.
play the weakest opponent.
Well, let me say this to you. I don't think the problem was with the 1 week bye. They got a 2-week bye. That was the problem.
That's what I'm saying.
And that has nothing to do with the NFL.
No.
That was your boy Harbaugh decided he wasn't going to play his players. And back to my point, he didn't do enough to keep them brothers sharp so that when they came out, they could be firing on all cylinders. However, and I know we're going to get to the next game, San Francisco didn't like they was rusty.
No, but hold on. We'll get there. But at the same time, even though, Harbaugh gave him week 17 off, if the first round wasn't like that would be fine. I don't think they would be as rusty.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So we just going right into it. And I think that in football, and I said this about college football a couple years ago, but I think I'm gonna start applying it to professional football. It's not if you lose, it's when you lose. Right? Because in college football, we know how the ranking system goes, and it's very biased here.
You can't lose at the end.
You can't lose at the end.
Yeah.
You gotta lose very early and then make it up.
Better lose in September.
Yeah, facts.
And then when you look at Baltimore, they were riding a 12-game win streak.
Yep.
Yeah, they was hot.
They was hot.
What was I saying? They was due for one.
They was due
They
for
was
one.
due for one. It just unfortunately it was
this
the
one.
But it
playoff.
was the way B that they lost, though.
It was a perfect storm. It's a perfect
Not
storm.
to take credit away from Tennessee.
I know.
But
They play
Baltimore
like crap.
lost
They
that
play like
game.
crap.
5 turnovers.
They play like
Was
crap.
it 5 turnovers?
5 turnovers.
So
They
y'all
play like crap.
So y'all don't put any blame on Lamar?
A little bit, but to me, when I look at it, it was a team thing. It wasn't just Lamar.
Yeah.
Lamar was kind of there. You could tell early on. He was.
What kind of blame you want to put on Lamar?
I'm just asking because, for any other quarterback that loses in the playoffs, there's obviously some blame towards them.
3 turnovers.
Yep.
You can put on him.
Yeah.
You can see he was trying to do a little bit too much. Like
Yeah,
he
he
was
was.
trying
He
to
was.
be the MVP
He
versus
was.
just being who he was, which is
Right.
the MVP.
Right.
And to Larry's point, how did that 2 weeks off, how did that mentality change when for 12 weeks straight, we've been grind hard, all this shit.
What was
and
the
then-
first 2 possessions of the game? 3 and out, and then a pick 6.
Yep.
It wasn't a pick six. It was just a pick.
Or just a pick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he just
But
ran
see,
it
I got a
back.
problem
Yeah.
with the pick because he hit the homie in the hands.
It was high.
It was high.
It was high.
It was
It was
high.
a tip
But it
out.
hit his hands.
But
you
he
get
should've
paid
called it.
millions of
Yes.
dollars to
Right.
make these catches.
Right. You got to catch that ball, fam.
Was that the Pro Bowler Andrews? Was that the one who?
I think
That
it
was
was.
Andrews.
I think it was.
So at the end of the day, that's the reason why I can't put a lot of blame on Lamar. Lamar did what he was supposed to do. And then let's look at the numbers, right? The numbers state that they didn't play their game. Lamar
I
had
agree.
50 pass attempts?
60.
Yeah, 60 pass
Like,
attempts. Yeah.
But part of that was they had fell behind. They was trying to come back.
But and that's why to me it was more on Harbaugh because it was a team thing. It wasn't just a Lamar thing. The first possession, 3 and out, like this.
But you're not talking about something that I think is the elephant in the room.
What's that?
I think Ingram was hurt. Ingram
Yeah,
changed
they
what
missed-
they normally
they
do.
was
Yeah.
missing
They
him.
got Gus Edwards.
What about What
Yeah.
about Gus?
Well, if you're gonna use Gus, and I feel like they really didn't. And
Yes.
I don't know if you said that or you're alluding to it, but they didn't play Baltimore Ravens football,
Well,
which
yeah, I
is
said that,
they
yeah.
set a freaking record for rushing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm with FIFO, man. And I was in the group chat, and I was just like, Harbaugh's game plan. What was it? I don't know.
Right.
He came out
right.
trying to. I didn't see the first 3 and out possessions, so I don't know the run to pass ratio there. But where was the running attack?
Mm-hmm.
Where was the adjustment when he saw the defensive coverage that the Titans were playing, dropping
Yeah.
back his zone, got a
Yeah.
spy?
Outside in.
Where was all of that? I didn't see any of that. Harbaugh's on the sideline when they're down by 2 scores, laughing it up with one of the other guys, assistant coach or whatever. Lamar Jackson, I want to get on him a little bit because when he threw that interception, he had the personal foul. And then apparently he was on the sideline laughing and kikiing it up.
Which was so uncharacteristic of him. Like that personal foul was surprised that he even did that.
So
you talking about when he tackled the guy against the
horse
helmet?
collar.
So he didn't obviously think much of the interception because I think he just thought that they were going to do what they're going to do. But Lamar Jackson has been dynamic all year long, and he had Lamar Jackson throwing a lot. It felt like to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, where's the run game? It doesn't always have to be Lamar. It could be Gus Edwards. We already know Ingram was hurt. Don't play him.
Right.
That was my thing,
So what
too.
are you doing?
Why would you have Ingram come in and out? We see him with the bag, like the ice pack around his
We
ankle
see him
and
running.
shit.
He just wasn't
And then all of a
finishing
sudden-
runs like he normally do.
And then all of a sudden I see him on the field get like maybe a 5-yard gain or whatever. I'm like, is he in and out? Because I know when it comes to running backs, consistency is key. Especially if you're going if
gotta
Gus
get that
Edwards,
rhythm.
point.
if
Very
Gus
good
Edwards is
point.
the healthiest back, let's run
run
Gus
Yeah.
Edwards down the
And they were clearly rusty. We saw the receiver was scared as shit. Snead dropped. I don't know.
Number
he was-
11 had Allegana
he
arms
was
all game.
Terrified.
Yep.
And Lamar Jackson became frustrated, and you got to be able to lead when you're behind, not when you're ahead also. So when he threw a pass, and I forgot it was like a post, spot on. It was on the money. The guy fumbled it and dropped it. Lamar threw his arms up. That's not good. That's terrible leadership. That's not proper body language.
Well,
you
I
gotta
can't get
I
that
don't
to
know
you,
about
man,
that
because
because
Brady blow
I
up
was
at people
about to say,
all the
yeah.
time.
Brady
man.
does that a
And
lot.
We don't throw him under
Late.
the bus.
Especially when
He's
it comes to-
competitive. He's really into the
Nah,
game.
man, I can't. It's too early in the game for him to behave in that manner because I think they were only down by a touchdown.
But at what point is it on him for that? Because there was like at least 3 balls that I saw like
the
that. We
pass
see
that
the
I'm
tip.
talking about was on the money. He should have caught it.
It was
That's
a
what
lot
I'm
of
saying.
drop
So, like,
balls
so it's like,
yesterday.
at
yo.
what point? How can I not get frustrated when I'm doing literally everything I can as a quarterback? Not only just passing
it
or
on the
rushing,
money.
and I'm putting it on the money, and your dumbass can't even catch the ball.
Did you see the one that hit Hayden Hurst in the shoulder? Because he
Yeah.
didn't turn his
Just
head
didn't
around
turn
enough.
it- yeah,
bro.
yeah, you got to get that.
You
could
got to
be
get that. That
frustrated
was
at
a
that moment.
touchdown.
It's like the third or fourth.
No,
quarter.
no,
So
but
I
the
understand
whole
that.
game,
No,
bro.
but
First
Ken,
quarter,
but
bro.
Ken, even how they came off. That's the reason why I don't put a lot of blame on Lamar. Lamar did what Lamar was supposed to do. Now I give blame. He's the quarterback and he's the MVP.
You
of
gotta
the
take
league.
some blame
You
'cause they
got to take some
lost.
blame.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the reason why they were dropping passes wasn't because of Lamar's ball placement. It was because they were dropping the damn ball.
Well, Ken, I got a question for you. So you was upset that Lamar was frustrated, but then you was upset that he was kikiing on the sideline. So which one do you want? Because I feel like you're talking out of both sides of your
Because
neck
I
right
want
now.
both. Because here's the thing. So early on, I didn't see the kikiing part. I heard about it. So I
Okay.
was
Because I didn't see the kikiing
over
part
my
either.
in-laws.
When he was
So-
on the sideline, Lamar was very focused to me, and he was always sitting next to his coaches. And I also want to preface this by saying I don't have a problem with you kikiing on the sideline, especially when you're behind, because you got to make sure you
gotta
keep
be
your
loose.
composure. Yeah, you got to be loose. And so I think that's important. But I think this goes back to Nick's point. I put all this on Harbaugh because you got
I
to
do
know
too.
when it's
Not all
cool to
of it.
kiki and when it's you got to kick him in the butt. And I don't think that he did either one of those effectively yesterday, and that's why his team ended up losing.
So that's why I said I want both because he did not keep his composure. So when he got frustrated, that shows that he lost his composure. In the first, so the way I heard it, and I didn't see it. Chat, everybody here, correct me if I'm wrong, but the second interception he threw on the out route, my father-in-law said, "Oh, now he's on the sideline looking dejected and all that." But when he threw the first interception, he felt like it didn't bother him. He was smiling and
But can I say something real quick? On that 1st
Mm-hmm.
interception, I saw one of his teammates kind of come over and be like, "Yo, man, it's okay," kind of type of deal, and he kind of smiled to kind of keep.
So
his
that's
head in
probably
the
what he
game.
was talking
That's
about.
what I think
Yeah.
happened with that first one.
And
That
that-
second one, he was pissed.
And that second one was you could tell he forced that one.
Right.
Like,
The first one wasn't his fault, Ken.
yeah, the first
Yeah, first one.
No,
wasn't
I
his fault.
understand that. I understand
Second
that,
one
but
was all his fault.
but I
So
I don't know, man. I just go ahead. Yeah, let's
we got to
move
give
on.
some love to the Titans. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, big facts, yeah.
100.
They came to play.
I got a couple
and
questions.
you was
They
right.
came
Wait,
to play.
hold on. I'm gonna give you your flowers, boy.
right.
Let me give you your flowers. So Nick last week, if y'all didn't watch it, he kept throwing out this Derrick Henry stat where he says that there was 6-0 before
they were 7-0 at that point because they
7-0 every time that Derrick Henry went over 100 yards.
Really?
And I told him, I said, hey, that's not really going to happen with Baltimore. Baltimore's going to be able to rush the ball. Obviously, that wasn't the case, and you were right. They came out there and they did exactly what they had to do. And also, I don't know if y'all saw this yesterday as well. There's been only, I want to say, 2 other teams that their quarterback, throughout the playoffs, did not throw over 100 yards, and both of those teams went on to win the Super Bowl. So I think that's very interesting because I think the way that the Titans are built and the way that they want to play, it's championship football. We're gonna run the ball. We're gonna waste this clock. We got a back that gets better as the game goes on.
But I would say the one thing that I brought up I was surprised to see, but I kind of wasn't. Was remember I was saying the Titans have probably one of the most underrated defenses left in the playoffs. It's like one of the best. They held the Pats to what, like 12 or something like that?
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, that was the Pats. Brady ain't got no weapons or whatever. But this game, that 28-12 on the road in Baltimore.
That was impressive.
That was the first time I think all season that Baltimore didn't score a touchdown in a half.
Did you see how everybody
First
had a
time
hat?
they was down at the end of the first quarter.
They had a hat for Lamar everywhere he went. Like that defense was merciless. And then on top of that, if his receivers can't catch balls, they're not gonna help.
Perfect storm.
Perfect storm.
It was a perfect storm.
So we're gonna show love to the Titans, and in the group chat, like when he was like 45 yards away, I was like, oh, because I think they were about 14. There was 14-0 or whatever it was. I was like, oh, this he's gonna get that. I thought he was gonna get 200 because you're up. You're gonna just
5 yards away from it.
Yeah, all you're gonna do is hand it to him. So I was like, he's 45 away from that number that you kept referencing. There's 2 other things I want to point out that Harbaugh did that I think cost his team. The 2 fourth down calls.
They were 8 for 8 during the regular season.
In the
That's
playoffs,
crazy.
you have to value the possession. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. He knows that.
Get those points.
Punt the ball away because I think on one of those, Henry,
Or kick the field goal. He was
broke
close enough
one.
for a field
And
goal
kick
one
that
time.
field goal.
Yep.
Kick that field goal. And even the way he mismanaged timeouts going down the field because
agree.
he only had a chance. And Lamar almost messed that up. 11 seconds. And I don't know what play call they called. But it wasn't good because nobody was open. Lamar started scrambling. He almost got tackled.
And
You
throw it
almost
away.
missed the points there.
Yep.
He had a chance to call a timeout and could have gave them 20 extra seconds, and he did not.
I think he went into the halftime with all of his timeouts.
No, he used the last one right when
You're right.
Hollywood
So they
Brown
could
made
kick the
that
thing, yeah.
great catch.
Yeah.
And we're gonna give some
That
props.
was a crazy catch.
Yeah, that was
That was
really
That was a
one-handed
really
too,
good
right?
catch.
One-handed.
Yeah.
He didn't even put his
In
left hand up
traffic,
in
serious
traffic.
traffic,
There was
yeah.
another streak. The other wide receiver was running a streak right next to him. You had 2 DBs and a safety over the top, and all he did
It
was
was almost like Antonio was working with that boy
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, Jay Joy in the chat said the Titans, to your point, Nick, were ranked top 5 before the injuries on defense hit after week 7.
And it showed.
Yeah.
Good point.
And it had me like I was talking to my homie as I was watching the game. I was like, are the Titans the team to beat in the AFC now?
They're the
No.
hottest. They're the
They're the
hottest.
We'll get there. We'll get there. So
all
let's
right,
talk
but
about
all right,
the Titans.
The other question I had was, is Derrick Henry the best running back in the league right now?
Oh, let's not.
Is
get
he the
carried
best
away.
running back in the
Top
league
3.
right now?
I think he's the best running back in the league right now.
top 3.
How are you defining the
mean,
best
You're
running back?
recency bias.
Yeah, you are.
It ain't
yeah.
recency.
It's because
Yeah,
you,
you are. Where
you,
Dak
wasn't- you
at?
wasn't
I
even
thought it was
mentioning.
Barkley.
He wasn't even mentioning Henry before the season started.
But
His name didn't even come up.
I'm saying it's not recency because he's been doing it since pretty much the end of last season. You want to be honest, where he
So
was
how
getting
come-
like
how come you
200
never
yards.
mentioned
a
him
game.
then?
I needed to see this season to be for real, and then
So
in
what
the
are you basing
playoffs.
your decision off, Nick? What's your
Consistency.
criteria for
Because next
best
year,
back?
here's how
Is it-
bad he'd
is
be
it
like, man, Derrick
yards?
Henry a bum.
Yeah, I mean, what
Saquon
are you
Barkley.
basing it on?
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon was hurt. All right, that's why. That's why. Hey, if
I'm
you
team
hurt,
Saquon because I'm a Giants fan. Let's just put that out
I'm a
there.
Giants fan too.
Oh.
So
No
I'm
wonder.
team Saquon.
Outside of the table, man.
No,
I'm from
I-
Jersey. I
I'm not
represent
trying to-
Roselle
I'm
all
not-
day, every day.
I'm not trying to bounce around and say this, but I'm just bringing up the question because the way this man runs, the way that no one stops, and give credit to the offensive line of the Tennessee Titans too. They do a great job.
Very
But
good job.
This dude is he's a monster. Like what? Who can take him? He's a refrigerator running down the field. Like who can take him down?
And he was
agree.
running away from people when he broke into the
Earl
secondary.
Thomas, he pushed Earl Thomas to the side.
Earl
like-
Thomas ain't want none of that smoke.
Earl Thomas didn't tackle him. He just got tired and went out of bounds.
Yep.
Let's just keep it 100.
And I agree with what Ryan Tannehill said about Derrick Henry. When you watch him, it's not the big runs that amaze you about Derrick Henry. It's about the ones that it looks like he gets hit at the line of scrimmage
And
and
he
it's a
gets
4 yard.
Yeah.
Because think about you do that twice, it's 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
Now the playbook is wide open. We can give it back to the beast, or we could play act like there's a lot of things that you.
Well,
can
I'm going
do.
to get everybody's opinion. Who do you think is the best back? Do you think Derrick Henry's the best
Right
back?
now, I would say Derrick Henry. And now I know
You
it's
would say it right now.
recency bias.
I'm with
yes.
you. He's recent.
But but I mean, going into next season, I will be watching Derrick Henry, and I think we talked about that earlier this season too. Before when we did our NFL like what to expect, like I think I mentioned or someone did about Derrick Henry. Like,
Can he catch the ball?
Not really.
Not really.
I can't give him the best back if you can't catch the ball.
Really.
Because it takes the element of the offense out. Because we know
What about impact though?
he has a lot of impact. That's why I was asking you, what are you basing your best back criteria on?
I base it.
Even
on
impact, I don't think I'm giving.
I base on
don't
impact.
think I'm
I
giving him
love.
impact.
Obviously, the league right now is all about like how many things can you do as a running back? Can
Right.
you catch? Can you block? Can you run? You know what I'm saying? And do you have that way of like always falling forward? But for me right now, it's impact. It's like how like you look at Christian McCaffrey, how he impacted the Panthers. You look at Ezekiel Elliott, how does he impact
Well,
the Cowboys?
take them one by one and compare your boy Henry to these people. So look at McCaffrey. Now, who would you rather have, McCaffrey or Derrick Henry?
Depends on the offense.
Derrick Henry.
I'd rather have Derrick Henry.
Depends on the offense was a good answer.
Depends on
that
the
was a
offense.
good answer.
Because I've seen McCaffrey at the 1 yard line not be able to get through, and I know with Derrick Henry, I don't have to worry about that.
But if that same McCaffrey guy, he could shake anybody and catch that pass at that 1 yard line. So it's about the offense that he's in, the defense that you're playing. But the most important thing, the way I'm basing the best back is who's giving me the best impact in the most ways. And I don't know if Henry don't catch the ball.
See, and this is the reason why I say it depends on the offense, right? Like if we just look at Kansas City, I'm just using them as an example. You put Derrick Henry there, obviously he'll have impact. But you put Christian McCaffrey there, that's a whole, bruh.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Christian McCaffrey's a better player.
He could do more things.
He could do more things. So when I look at running back, and you said it out of your own mouth, it's about who could do the most things. And to me, I think that the most talented running back right now in the NFL is Saquon. But I think this year, based off of this year, Derrick Henry's number 2. I think Christian's number 1.
So I got a
think he
problem
did
with that. And you know I'm a Giants fan. I'm a Saquon fan.
Go ahead.
But what have you done?
Bust.
He was hurt.
What have you?
I
Let's
know,
not go
bust.
crazy,
Chill
Mr.
out.
King. Let's
Yeah,
not
I
go
know.
crazy.
He's a rookie of the year.
Let's not
Chill
go
out.
crazy. But I can't allow you to say that he's the best back in the league because his production has not proven that.
And I feel you, but also hear what I said.
And I'm a Giants fan.
I think when healthy, he's the best back. He didn't have the production. This year, Derrick Henry's number 2, Christian McCaffrey's number 1 for me.
Saquon is great at like McCaffrey catching the ball, but he's a very explosive guy. He waits he's a chunk guy.
Yeah.
It's all about those big plays.
So Ken, this is my problem with Saquon. I don't know how impactful Saquon is on the game. So like I feel like his stats are a little padded. So he'll get a good run or he'll get a touchdown, but is that impacting the game?
You are making
know.
Ken happy right
Am
now.
I? Is he smiling?
Yeah.
But it pains me to say
No,
this
for
because
me-
I'm a Giants fan. I'm a Saquon fan. But my problem with Saquon is I don't think he has a big impact on the game in the big moments enough. And that probably goes more towards his offense and everything else that goes into it.
The line ain't
But
good yet.
I also feel like
The coaches. Well, there's a
your boy Zeke Elliott has a good impact
my
on
number
these
one.
games. So when the game is on the line, he can go ahead and get that first, or you could throw him the
I won't
screen
know.
pass or
No.
something. And Saquon maybe
But
hasn't been
production,
put in
though.
that position yet. Maybe
all right,
I don't
with,
know.
With Zeke, I give you that. I think all of these guys.
And
that
it's
we're talking
hard for me
about
to
is top
say that
5.
because I can't stand the freaking Cowboys. Dog.
Me neither.
And
But
then we got to get back to the game.
We
Yeah, I was
do.
gonna say, yeah,
we're
yeah.
going too far.
Okay.
um.
Okay. I thought you
Well, I
were
was
finishing
what I was
one.
saying with Derrick Henry is like the defenses he's gone against and has big impact against too. Like we talking about the Pats, like that's Bill Belichick. Regardless if you want to talk shit about
That-
the Pats or not,
But that
that's
was a
Beli-
floodgate on the running game.
That's a Belichick defense though.
but that's a
nonetheless.
floodgate on the
Come
running
on.
game.
That
They
Belichick
were
defense
one of the
was
worst.
overrated this whole
It was
year.
over-
No,
overrated.
I
It
understand.
was overrated.
I understand that, but
in the AFC East.
I'm just saying last year that defense was pretty much the same, and this year they were saying it was even better. So he did
But
that.
it wasn't.
That secondary is amazing, top 5 in the league. But that run defense, they're one of the worst.
And then he did it
We
against. He
seen
did
it.
against Baltimore. These are all on the road, by
No.
the way.
The
Baltimore's
the
defense
Baltimore
was-
one is that's the eye opener.
And I said last week I thought Baltimore's defense was a little overrated, but still, you brought up the stats last week to say they weren't.
Once
And
they got Marcus Peters, that transformed that.
So
defense.
so let me put this on the table. Were you surprised by how well Derrick Henry was able to run against the Baltimore
was.
defense yesterday,
Nah.
knowing that they wanted Derrick Henry to run against the Baltimore defense?
They should have stacked the box way more. I don't think it would have mattered much because Man,
it wouldn't matter because then he wouldn't have been able to be as productive, and Tannehill would have had more of an impact on the game.
Tannehill hit them in the mouth in a way they didn't expect. Those first 2 touchdowns, one being over the pass to the tight end, and then down the field to I don't know the guy's name, number 14. Like number 14 had a move. Yeah. He had a phenomenal
they
move
won that game because they put the ball in Derrick Henry's hand and they ran it down there.
After what happened though, they went up 14. I think you would have saw Derrick Henry
Very
a lot.
Good point.
They were trying to run the ball a lot earlier in that game until they got that first touchdown. Nobody expected that to go down. And then that second one is 14 zip. Like, all right, now we can just run and do whatever because now they're playing catch up, which is one of the things that we talked about on this program as far as how many times have we seen Baltimore go down. Now you said in the chat, how did down 2 scores?
Yeah.
Like
they all regular season, Baltimore never was behind after the first quarter and never behind after the first half.
Right.
So
they never faced adversity.
They never faced that type of adversity.
But they lost 2 games though.
I feel you, but
that's adversity.
Yeah, that was early in the season.
You lost.
But that was early in the season.
How can you be more adversity than you got your butt whooped?
But they also had a 12-game win streak. And remember, like I said earlier in the program, it's not if you lose, it's when you lose. It's just too many games without a loss, without a reset
themselves.
button. Exactly.
They was cocky at press conferences and stuff.
I wanted to touch on that too. I was going to let everybody get done, but Baltimore had a certain arrogance about them. Like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh, they're up 21, it don't matter. Yes, it do. Yeah, it does matter.
Saw that after the first interception.
Yeah.
I was last question I had for this game was this the best shot for Lamar to get to the Super Bowl? And I know I'm saying a lot of crazy shit right now, but I'm only saying that because I remember Cam Newton, his MVP season. They got to went to the playoffs, got to the Super Bowl. Obviously, we could critique how his play was in that Super Bowl, but after that, I honestly thought like, okay, we're gonna see more of Cam, deep in the playoffs.
I thought so
we all
too.
think that though, but remember what FIFO said last week? It's like you can have a dream season one year and have.
But we've never seen Cam back like that.
That happens in NFL,
and that's why I'm wondering with Lamar, like how he shocked the league and took everybody by surprise. It reminds me.
Well, I will tell you this: what you saw Tennessee do yesterday, Lamar's gonna see a lot of that next year.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna see a ton of that.
It's gonna be a lot of
It's a
defensive
copycat
coordinators.
league,
It's
man.
gonna be a lot of defensive coordinators during this summer that's gonna be studying.
They're gonna be
the
like,
hell
all
out that
right,
game.
now what do we do?
Yep, they're gonna
All
be
right.
studying the hell out that game.
Oh, who we didn't need to drive?
Right.
Oh, 6'4",
Right.
250?
Right.
4'3" speed.
I will
Right.
say it was his best shot. I will, because we've seen 9 and 7 teams make it before.
Right.
But it wouldn't surprise me if he never played in a Super Bowl. I mean, football is a cruel sport.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I mean. That's
so,
what I'm asking that question.
he may not play in the Super Bowl.
Here. This is how I feel about Lamar Jackson versus the Cam Newton debate that you just posed. I think that Lamar Jackson is a better passer of the football. And I think because of that, he'll have more opportunity than Cam did to get further than Cam has, more times than Cam.
But I have another elephant in the room when it comes to Lamar. Okay. He's only one hit away from changing the whole game.
He's smarter than Cam, though.
I agree. And I think in his 2 short years in the league, I can see his maturation from when he first came in and when he last went in. Because yesterday, I didn't really see him take any major shots. And that's important. I call it the Russell Wilson factor. Because Russell Wilson is really good at running, but not taking that big shot.
But I also will credit
Cam would initiate.
Oh yeah,
the big
he was a
shot.
freight train,
and that's a big. But it done caught up with him.
Yeah,
now.
it wore out.
It done caught up with the homie now.
I would have credited Lamar Jackson with this, but also with the Russell Wilson point. The league is actually catching up with these running quarterbacks too, because Cam wasn't protected like like these quarterbacks are now
100.
back then. So I think that will help as far as.
Well, let's just say that the league has screwed Cam Newton over because they wasn't making the calls.
100%. And here's the thing: I think that we can see an offense evolve around Lamar Jackson, where right now he's running this option, whatever the hell they call it, right? But I think eventually you could see him run a West Coast. You could see him run a regular pro style offense. I don't think that he has to be subjected to this type of offense for him to be successful. And that's why I think that Lamar
he grows, the offense can grow.
Exactly.
But back to one of Ken's points, you remember you were talking about the 4th down plays when they were running the quarterback sneaks? If you got Lamar Jackson, do we have to shove him up the middle?
Nope.
Why can't we give him the run pass option, take him around the corner, have somebody I can either pitch it to or one of my 500 freaking big white boy tight ends I could just throw the ball to?
But last week I was telling them, at this point in the season, you got to look at the patterns. Whatever got us here, we're going to keep going with it. FIFO mentioned they were 8-8. on 4th downs before
Yeah.
this game,
8 for 8.
why would I switch it up now?
But I don't think when
But how
they're
did they get all 8? of
right,
those?
I don't
Like,
think it
what
was
were the
right
8
up the
plays?
middle.
Not with Lamar.
Traditional quarterback sneak. You have Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
You
got
got to
speed
put
to the
that boy on
outside.
the corner.
Yeah.
And they didn't run any bootlegs. And remember what?
Yep.
Remember what I told y'all about them white boys? Y'all saw Tannehill run for one.
He
He did. A run.
did.
He did a RPO, and then he ran a bootleg.
He did.
Told y'all they.
But that was
gonna
at the
start running
one. That
white
was in the
boys.
red zone.
Tannehill played
I'm just
good.
saying, they
I
gonna
don't know
start
what
running the white
I want to
boys.
know what a Miami Tannehill is because I don't know who this
I
Tannehill
mean,
is, bro.
I've been saying that too. Like, dude,
It made me
like he was just like dirt in the water.
He
like,
wasn't
for the
this.
last 2 years. Yeah,
I know
that's
that-
crazy.
real quick. They talking about Belichick might try to get Andy Dalton to see what's happening, but I really feel I bring that up.
Yeah,
It's
that's a rumor.
It's a rumor coming out.
Belichick didn't say that.
But I'm saying that is because it really does come down to the environment you are in and the coaching you have.
100%.
Because that can change the whole. Look, I mean,
100%.
look at Jimmy G.
What?
Right.
One thing about Dalton, I will say, he's accurate. He puts the ball where it's supposed to go.
I will- I will-
You're not a
He's from
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
You're not a Cincinnati fan.
I will say this. Shit. It was something. Oh, I did have that thought, a fleeting thought about Lamar getting back to this place. Because I'm like 14-2. You caught everybody by storm.
What else is better
Like,
than that?
It's hard to replicate. Like, that's what makes Belichick and Brady so special. And even Russell Wilson to a certain degree. While watching it, because I thought about Cam. So I had that same thought. I want to give Vrabel some credit because we talk about Belichick's disciples. And he just beat 2 Super Bowl winning coaches.
Back to
Wow.
back.
And in this game,
I think he beat him at their own game, too.
He did it
The
the way
Belichick way.
he did it the way that Belichick wins games. They take away the best player, and they don't beat themselves. Who had the most turnovers or who made the most mistakes yesterday? It was the Ravens, and that's what Lamar could say it wasn't Russ. Russ was part of it, but 5 turnovers, and I'm including the 2 4th downs as turnovers as well. But 3 by Lamar. It's the dumbass fumble when he should have just ran and he tried to reload. I don't know what he was thinking there, and that essentially
I agree
put
because
the
he knew
game
the guy
away.
was there because he ducked
Yeah, that
under
was
him.
stupid.
I felt like he was trying to prove he was a quarterback.
He was just
this
trying
He
to
was
do too
pushing.
much.
He was
He
pushing.
was doing too much.
But yeah,
But you know what? I'm giving credit to
Vrabel
Mike
did his thing.
Yeah,
Vrabel.
he gets a lot of credit.
The announcer said it. I 100% agree. Sometimes the team takes on the personality of the coach, and that Titans team
All
is
the time,
fucking
I
Mike
think.
Vrabel.
That happens all the time, man.
It does for the great coaches. They do.
For the crappy coaches, too. That's why they're crappy coaches, and they have crappy teams.
Hey, Kitchens. Oh, he gone now. Freddie Kitchens.
Garrett,
Yeah.
think about the
Jason
Dallas
Garrett.
Cowboys,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
They took
100%.
on the persona of their coach. That's why they were mediocre.
Yep.
They had a mediocre coach.
100.
All
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
One last thing before we
Go ahead.
move on. So it's my understanding that Derrick Henry nor Tannehill are under contract next year. They're both free agents.
oh,
Wow.
They're
shit.
both. So who is more valuable? Who do you
They
franchise?
they gonna give them both money.
You gotta keep Derrick Henry, but damn, are backs that play like him sustainable?
you know they not.
with the type of
Look
contract
at the
that he may be
last
asking
Titan
for.
super running back.
Yeah,
Jordan?
Eddie Jordan.
Not sustainable.
I would give him like a 3-year deal.
Yep. At
That's
max.
it. That's
So
it.
yeah, that's good.
Pay him up front
But
now.
Nick,
be
Nick,
be
if
respectful.
Are you of the age? I'm now going to bless you. You're now the agent of Derrick Henry. We got to sit back and take some offers here. He could potentially be a Super Bowl
100%.
winning running back. I'm just not going to sign for Tennessee.
All right, so
I got to see what the offers on the table. Let me
Hey,
see
Baltimore,
what
come calling.
hold on. Let me ask you this question: if they get to the Super Bowl,
Okay.
do you still take those offers seriously?
Yes, because now you have a Super Bowl. You're a champion. So now
You
it's
don't
all
wanna
about
run it
the
back?
money,
You
is
don't
it
want-
not?
But I'm just saying, this is the system.
It's
that
not about the money. You want to just go win another
No,
chip?
because he gonna get paid. We're just talking about the system that you are in to sustain you for longevity and success.
But what if Belichick hit you up and say, "Look, I'm about to get Andy Dalton come through."
I think he's going to get a lot of phone
Baltimore
calls.
100.
A
calls.
lot of calls.
Baltimore,
Chicago,
they got-
Chicago,
LA
Kansas City.
Rams.
Well, I don't know if they because Todd
Rams-
Gurley still got a lot of money on the book now.
the
you
Rams,
got-
they got so much money tied up in players.
If
man.
you got your ring, you don't have to run it back. You
Nope.
good. Especially if you know
'Cause you going
Tannehill-
down
It's
history.
about the money, especially with the kind of back. To Ken's
Yep.
point, you know this brother only going to be around for 3 or 5 more years
At this
at this level.
Mhm.
You got to go for the biggest check on your table, and he's never going
and
to be in a position
and
like
I think
this again.
Tennessee's gonna give it. They ain't got no other place to send the money to. They're not gonna overpay Ryan Tannehill. I think they give a short deal to Ryan Tannehill.
All I'm saying is, if you are Derrick Henry's agent, we got to sit back and see what the offer.
I mean, yeah,
we
you-
probably go back to Tennessee. That's probably going to happen. But I got to see what the
100%, Larry. Because here's the thing: Would you say that Tennessee has the best sustainable future with Ryan Tannehill?
We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
Look, I'm
I
a
do like-
Miami fan. And
Sorry to hear that.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate it. And after Dan Marino, you know what I'm saying? Ryan Tannehill might be the next greatest, maybe Jay Fiedler, I don't know. But either way, Ryan Tannehill is getting better. But at the end of the day, how many quarterbacks can we name way better than Ryan Tannehill?
We can name them.
That don't have a running back.
But we could say a lot of quarterbacks that are way better than Tom Brady as far as like talent wise.
Right now, 2020,
But
yes,
I'm-
I think you could.
But I'm also saying, like, again, environment counts and matters. Like, we're only talking about Ryan Tannehill like that because he got out of a bad environment to a new one, and now we're seeing him flourish. So now I don't know, how can you really say that, like, as far as the negative about him when it's like, well,
No.
different circumstances, I could be one of the top 5 QBs.
But what I'm saying,
Not to say he is.
But what I'm saying is that there's other places that are going to be more sustainable for the 3 to 5 year window that he has over Ryan Tannehill. So yeah, you're
talking about Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. So yeah, you may win a Super Bowl right now this year, but what about next year?
All right, so Jay Joy apparently they're in Nashville.
What's up, Nashville?
Says that they've been talking about that contract situation every week down here in Nashville, and that Tannehill said he wants to stay.
Of course,
Hell yeah, you want to stay.
Now, wait a minute. Now I'm going to make B Tannehill's agent. Do you got to sit back and listen to The Office? Or
No.
do you just stay? And this is the last thing I want to say. I believe more in Derrick Henry than I do in Tannehill because I've seen Tannehill in Miami, and that's hard to erase from my mind. And now it looks beautiful right now. The roses are really sweet, but I've seen too much to invest a lot in Tannehill right now. And
I got 2 words. Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. Those are strong words, sir. Strong words. But to Ken's point, if I'm Derrick Henry, I can't make a move till I see what you're going to do with the quarterback.
100%.
I cannot make a move.
Yeah.
I don't care how much money you throw at me because that changes the whole dynamic of your team.
100.
So I feel like Derrick Henry has all the cards in his hand.
Yeah,
and I feel like Tannehill has more cards. That both of them have more cards than Tennessee because Tennessee needs them more than they need Tennessee.
But Tennessee
sorry,
winning the Super
Nashville.
Bowl.
You said they not?
They
So-
are.
You said they're going to be in the Super Bowl?
Are you making a proclamation?
Are they-
Are you
you
I'm
asking?
making a curse.
Are you making
Oh, so it won't happen. You saying that so it won't happen. Man, the way they playing, man.
we'll get
They
back.
look good. They look Super Bowl ready to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. they
We'll
do.
get back to the matchup for next week later on. But going on to the first game of yesterday or the Saturday games, San Fran and the Vikings.
Jimmy G.
Hey, no.
I know. it
Kyle
wasn't. I know it
Shanahan.
wasn't.
Facts.
Kyle
Major facts.
Shanahan. I've been preaching Kyle Shanahan's name on this damn podcast, YouTube, whatever the hell we are, for all year. And you saw it yesterday. You saw
Been
that
saying it all year.
we've been seeing it all year. But yesterday I felt it was like the cherry on top. You saw how beautiful those plays were designed. They executed exactly how they came out with confidence and not arrogance. They had a respectful fear. Or
For the
not
Vikings.
fear,
Yeah,
but
I know.
they
They
respected.
respected their opponent.
They
Lamar
respected their
didn't, and Harbaugh.
Exactly. And the 49ers said, look, we're going to come out. We're going to do what we know what we can do. What can you do?
Because at the end of the day, y'all got to go through here to get to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So
To FIFO's point, though, I think their last game of the season was a lot different from Baltimore's last game of the season as well.
It was high intensity.
It was very intense. And so that
Can't
has
take
to
them
play a
weeks
part.
off.
And it
That
was
had to
also-
play a part.
It's that choreography, man.
And it was also that it set the tone for like we can't take nothing's like light
facts,
because like
yeah.
they could have been the fifth. They could be.
Yep.
because they played
Same-
Seattle, right? Didn't they
Yeah.
play Seattle in that
They-
final
they
game?
was
That was for the
playing-
NFC West.
They was playing
Yeah.
for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Home field advantage.
Right.
They was not to go to cold Green Bay in the
Exactly.
snow.
Right.
They had to
Right.
go. To your point is masterful, sir. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And their last 5 games of the season, like all came down to the wire.
Well, because they were up and down because they lost to Atlanta in between.
Yeah,
they,
they
you know what I'm
did.
saying? They had
Yeah.
the shootout in New Orleans. Like
Yeah.
they were like, shit, we could stumble out of this bitch.
They weren't coming off a 12-game winning streak.
they were
Nope.
not.
You know?
Nope.
So
They were not.
They weren't feeling themselves.
No.
Do you trust Jimmy G to get San Fran to the Super Bowl?
Yes.
I
Well,
trust
no, no, no.
Mr.
Oh, you said-
Shanahan.
thank you.
I trust
That's why I asked
Shanahan.
Jimmy. I said Jimmy G.
Thank you.
Because that first half, he threw that pick. I was like, all right, here we go.
But I want to tell you about Jimmy G. I like the way that he plays when the game is on the line. He doesn't shirk.
he
He
don't
doesn't
shrink.
shrink.
Yeah,
he doesn't
he didn't
shrink.
shrink.
And
He
you
didn't
can't
shrink.
you can't teach, you can't coach that. Either you got
Nope.
that dog in you, or you don't. He got a
Yep.
little dog in him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he also has Shanahan.
He also
Put
has
on the
say, I
strings.
don't know.
Put on the strings.
And a
like
good run
puppet.
game.
He a dog.
And a very good running
He
game.
a dog
he-
on a leash. That's what I was
Either of
saying.
them three
He
backs
is
can
on a
go off.
leash. Yeah.
Either of them three backs can just go
Because I
off.
think that they put the game away yesterday on this drive where they never threw the ball. They just handed it off. I want
Yeah.
to say 6 or 7 times,
Yeah,
and he ran it all the way into
and
the end
Coleman
zone.
was doing that shit
Yeah.
too, man.
And I want to add again. I talked about body language in the first game we covered. I'm gonna talk about body language in this one.
Mm-hmm.
On that drive, 8 runs. There was a moment.
Was it 8 runs straight?
I think it was 8 straight.
Okay.
There was a moment when I think they got a first down, and Xavier Rose did the same thing. He just
Oh,
did
yeah,
like
on the
this.
defensive end. You're right. I saw
Really?
that.
Nope.
I
At
saw
that
Really?
that.
point, I was like,
His
it's
It was a
over.
wrap.
That's what I was
It's
saying
over.
when about the Baltimore game. I said I'm looking at body languages now.
His
But
fall
Ken,
from
if
grace
a
is
team
crazy.
runs it 8 times all the way to the end zone,
That's kind of
it's over.
That's
Yeah,
demoralizing.
it's over.
And on
It's
a,
over.
on a Mike Zimmer defense too. Like that's the one thing that.
Overrated defense.
You hang your hat on your defense. and
But
we-
like he has so many stars and Pro Bowlers on his defense, you would think like this is the number one thing we can't let him do. This is what sets up everything: the play action, the all
So
this
Nick,
shit.
why do you think they were so effective in running the ball against this, defense? It's one of the best defenses in the league, and I think they're getting ready to run the ball, and you still can't stop.
You know what's funny? I think they didn't even expect to be there. I think that
The Vikings?
The Vikings. I think it was more of a not to say they were happy to be there, but I think that win against the Saints on the road, the way they celebrated that week, I think it was more of like we just
I
going.
think they were still on the emotional.
Yeah,
high.
let's just ride this out. Whatever happens, happens. And like, and not to say like they didn't expect to win or the game plan to win, but
I feel where you're coming from, but I don't think that falls on the head coach. I don't think that's Mike Zimmer's character at all.
no, I'm not saying it's Mike Zimmer. I'm saying it's the team.
I don't think it's the team. I think that's more Kirk Cousins than anything.
Mm.
Because think about it, man. Like that team, the way that they're constructed, they arguably have one of the top 53-man rosters in the league, right?
Mhm.
But that one position, that most important position, is 50-50. And I don't think that the rest of the team can buy into everything that's being said about that culture. When we look at this quarterback, it's like,
Well, the team basically said that, didn't they, early in the year? They're like, yo.
he stepped up, though. He stepped
did
when
step
He
up.
did.
When they called him out, he stepped
He
up.
did.
So I give him
He
props
did.
on that.
But
And
you are who you are.
And
You
it's
like
kind
that?
of
Yep.
You
yeah,
are?
and it's
You
kind of
are.
funny because right after Jimmy threw that interception, and it's hard to play perfect football like the Titans did. Like you have to be able to overcome adversity. And I've been saying that a lot, especially in the playoffs because you're playing winning teams. So you got to win in a couple of different ways.
And you got to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yes, which is what
Yes,
the Titans
and
did.
scored a touchdown.
Exactly.
Right.
Get the touchdowns, not field goals.
Right. The Vikings did not. When they got that interception, they didn't put 7 on the board.
Then they walked
They-
away with 3 at the half.
So,
Right.
Ken,
So
let me
that's
ask you
the
this
win.
question. I feel like that game comes down to what was going on with Davin Cook.
They were shutting him down.
Yeah, is that
So was he
D-line?
hurt or did they not run
He
the ball? What was the
banged up,
problem?
But I give credit to that
That
49ers
D-line.
defense.
Oh,
man.
the D line was a beast.
Yep.
But
And that
you
what I
know,
said last week?
Yeah, he couldn't get to the outside. He couldn't get anything
Can't do
on the
nothing.
interior. Yeah.
so
I
now
think
we
it was
can't
that.
run the ball. What do we do?
You,
Well, I heard one of the weaknesses of San Fran is the play action. And obviously, if you can't run the ball, that doesn't help set you up for the play action, which is one of their weaknesses. Because as much as we talked about that front line, that secondary, I'm not going to say it's,
questionable.
yeah.
It's questionable.
Richard Sherman's talking shit, but still, like, if we
He
had to pick
playing
apart.
though.
he's slow as hell. He got that pick and he was immediately.
But
tired.
he's never been a burner.
No.
He's
He
been
was faster
Stanford
than that,
smart
though.
and knows what to do on the field.
He's a bigger Asante Samuel.
He's a bigger Asante Samuel.
Zone
He's
corner.
I think he's smarter than Asante Samuel.
not-
But he's a system cornerback. I give you
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he's a
system-
zone
but-
corner.
yeah.
He needs to be able to sit back, see what's happening, survey, and make the
But
move.
this is what I want to ask you. So this line was killing Cousins, killing them. You got to get the ball out in 3 steps. Do you not?
They tried to. They tried it with the screens. It wasn't working. You see how he had to he had to wait for Dalvin Cook to get open and then try to loft it over a 6
I
foot
did
something
see
dude.
that.
Like
Yeah.
he did that at least 3 times. I was like the screen game ain't
So
working.
you think the D line was just way better?
Yeah,
it was
than
that
what
was
Vikings
the
could
main
do?
difference maker.
Minnesota,
That front seven, man.
Minnesota didn't have a good enough offensive line to mitigate that type of pressure, the immediate pressure
Does
that they were
anybody?
getting.
I would say
When
this,
they're playing like that,
the teams
Nah,
that
it's
face
gonna
them
be
a
tough.
lot can
because
have
they're
had
used to
success.
it. They're used to
That's
it.
why the NFC West, most of those games came down to the wire against San Francisco.
Very good.
Even the Cardinals came down to
Because
the
you
wire.
know how to scheme.
But they were a little healthy yesterday. They got people back who hadn't been playing.
100%.
You know, and that made a difference.
Which is why I'm hoping we see Seattle number 3. as far as the third time
I
they
think
play.
I think we're gonna.
I don't
want to
see that.
I want to see that.
No,
I
I want to see Green Bay.
Yep.
Because I want to see the magic that is. We already see Russell
And they have a
Wilson
better shot than Seattle
to
does.
win exactly.
Really?
Any given
Yeah,
Sunday.
I don't think so.
Seattle
literally
has
every
too
other
many
Sunday.
injuries.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
But playing a team 3 times, though, is still...
Right, you familiar
you know,
with them, and you know what
it's
you
still
can
kinda
do.
tough.
But what
they
about
can
the
do.
Super Bowl if they win and go to the Super Bowl? Do
Who's
we want
they?
to see that?
Seattle? I don't think Seattle's going to beat the 49ers.
I would love to see
I think the
Seattle win the
49ers are
Super
going into the Super Bowl.
I know,
bro.
but what I'm saying is I don't want to see a third round between those two teams.
I do.
I'd rather see Aaron Rodgers versus Kyle Shanahan
100%.
and that defense.
100%.
Before we get on to that, the last question I had about the Vikings game: what do the Vikings do with Kirk Cousins moving forward?
Well,
Because he's a free agent, I think, isn't he?
You gotta let him go.
I mean, it's kind of like what you said. You are what you say you are. What happens when we can't run the ball? Jimmy G turn it over. You said in the chat, Kirk Cousins. I had a feeling Kirk Cousins going to give it right back. He did. 8 runs, game over. Because guess what Kirk Cousins got to do? We gotta throw it.
He can't.
Is this what we got?
The answer is
the rest?
no. The answer is no, and I'll take it a step further.
No, as far as
I
what?
gotta no. You don't bring back
nah,
Kirk Cousins.
You let him go.
But I have a problem just letting him go for nothing. So I think.
But this
that
is not the
maybe
NBA,
you,
though.
You
This
get
is
him and
not the
maybe you
NBA.
could trade him to somebody else. I hate to let him go. I also have a problem with Dalvin Cook because I don't think that he consistently stays healthy.
He don't.
And so if you don't stay healthy, man, it's hard to make moves.
Every time
And you
after
look at
October,
great backs, all your great backs, they stay healthy, and it allows them to be consistent.
After
and I don't,
October,
so
yeah, he
what I'm
hurt.
saying to you is, I'm throwing Dalvin Cook in there as well.
oh, nah, you
So,
doing
so,
too far.
so,
You're
yeah.
going too far.
so here's the thing. So this is how GM hat on right now. This is what I would do, Mr. Tom Brady. How would you like to play up here in Minnesota? And then
That's the one team I never thought about.
right, and we can't make no excuse for Tom Brady. He go up there. You got a defense. You got.
Are we
two
making
wide
excuses
receivers.
for Brady?
And a tight end.
He got a top 5 wide out in Adam Thielen.
Hey, you heard me.
Are you a Thielen fan?
He
Nah,
is.
He said Thielen was
look,
better than
but look.
Julio Jones.
But
Get
look,
out of your Thielen mind. This boy here.
so look, you got to get on the phone with Tom Brady. You got to try to bring that man in, give him whatever he wants, and then you got to draft a running back in the first round. Because
You gotta
Then
move
I'm
on.
in.
You saying move on from
They
now?
are-
I'm not saying move on from
Split time is what you want to
split the
do.
time.
No,
I'm
what
with
they got a running back, Matthias or whatever his name is.
Why didn't they put him
they
yesterday, man?
He was hurt too, so both of the running backs got hurt.
So
in the
then we
last
still
couple
need a
games of
running
the
back. It
season.
sounds like
They just got to use.
we
him
need
more
ETN
and
from
try to-
Clemson. Let's bring that
what
brother
round
in.
was he in?
He gonna get smacked around in the NFL.
I don't think so.
This other guy outside of
Oh,
Dalvin
I
Cook.
look.
Okay.
But my thing is like, you should always. I tend to agree that you should always draft the offensive lineman, a linebacker, or a D lineman, and a running back pretty much in every draft. Just cause, you know what I'm saying? Because like,
Yeah.
those are
Injuries.
Injuries.
But where you take the matters, and obviously who's available.
Yeah,
matters.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
scheme, like they got to fit your scheme.
But I don't. The thing about Dalvin Cook is, and I brought this up early, like he does after October, he always gets hurt. Like it seems like it's consistent.
He
It's
gets hurt, man.
And but starting off the season, he was their catalyst for all those wins.
He's a good back when he's available
Yeah.
So
and
you-
healthy.
And I think it's the same thing that we kind of saw with
He
Alvin
got hurt at Florida State, if I'm not mistaken, something too.
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
We the same thing we seeing from Alvin Kamara as far as when you're the primary back who can who's more. I won't say Dalvin Cook is more of a strength back like between.
But he's
the
more of a
tackles.
runner
He's
guy than
he's
he is a catcher guy.
Yeah,
but that
but-
goes to his point. Alvin Kamara, I think, benefited from having Ingram last
That's
year.
what I'm
He
saying.
missed him this year.
He missed them a lot this
Or
year.
what was the other back they have there now? I think
Oh,
it was Latavius Murray or
yes,
something.
Murray.
I don't think they used him enough.
He was balling when Kamara was out.
He was. That's
So-
why I don't think they used him enough when Kamara came back. They choose either or, but you got to use them both.
But I think you need to have again. I agree with the pairing though. You need to get a back that does the opposite of what the other back does, but exceptionally well, as much as you
Who
can.
would you get?
Uh,
The homie out of Stanford, the homie out of Wisconsin?
I like the Wisconsin dude.
Can he catch?
You don't need to if you got.
Nah,
Cook.
Yeah.
You got to catch in the NFL.
You don't have to.
You got to catch in
You
the
look
NFL.
at Derrick Henry. Does he have to?
He don't
ain't
have
got
to
to do
catch.
shit but just run between the lines.
He don't have to catch. He don't have to
Hey,
catch.
what y'all think about what Richard Sherman said?
What'd he
after
say?
his
He just
about-
needs some. He needs.
I didn't hear what he
he
said.
had that interception. He said he tired of hearing people making excuses of why he's great because people always say he was a.
That's what Ken sound like Ken just
he's a
said.
zone, yeah, he's a
He
zone.
said a
He's
whole
a zone. Yeah, he's a zone corner, and he's not a shutdown corner. And he had an interception where he was playing man to man.
He had a whole sermon. He was like, I don't give a damn if it's 2012, 2013, 2014. When I'm in the playoffs, I make plays.
Yeah, when it's big games, I
Yeah.
step up and make
All right,
plays.
bro.
He did.
Is he
He
lying?
does.
Yeah.
He ain't lying, but at the
does.
same
I
time,
mean, if you look at the record,
That record's
That,
strong.
that turned the game.
Yeah, it
But
turned
I
the
think
game.
that
It
he
did.
knows we having these kind of conversations. Shout out
Yeah.
to Richard
Yeah,
Sherman.
yeah,
He probably
yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
You are a system cornerback, though, sir. And
Like he's a zone. They say he's a zone
is.
corner.
And
yeah.
not only that, but I think he is good because of his intelligence. He knows, he sees the routes coming. He knows where they're going. He positions himself in a good place. But to Ken's point, he's no speedster. So he
Right.
don't just play off and then he going to catch up with his
Right,
speed.
right,
But
right.
it says a lot to his intelligence that he maximizes his strengths, which is his intelligence.
Yep.
And I think
got
that's
that good
also,
IQ.
and that's also why I think he was very strategic in going to San Francisco, putting himself in that kind of defense.
Yeah.
Because
And also was within the same division. You know what they
he's
like.
familiar with the wide receivers and everything. You're right. That's a very strong point.
He ain't Namni Asamag. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he ain't fall off a cliff. He has lost several steps. He isn't
Yeah.
the same corner.
Everybody will over the years.
Yeah.
100%, especially at cornerback.
Especially
You
at
know what he
cornerback.
reminds me of? Not
Who?
to say he reminds me of as far as a player, but as far as career, Aqib Talib. Like as far as being smart, as far as where you go.
Keep got a little more speed than him, though.
He does, and Aqib takes a lot of gambles where
He really
Richard
do.
Sherman
Yeah, he
doesn't.
doesn't.
No, I mean
I agree.
that's what I was saying career-wise, as far as strategically picking the places. Like he went
To
to
go.
New England,
Then I
or
give you.
Denver.
I'll give you
Yeah.
that. I'll give you
Schemes
that.
that
I'll give
helped
you
me
that.
out.
I'll give you
Yeah.
that.
But give me Sherman over to leave, though.
Yeah,
Madison,
100%.
FIFO Madison was drafted in the 3rd round.
Yeah, they gotta get a first-round running back.
Who was drafted in the 3rd round?
Madison, their backup.
Minnesota's backup running back.
Nah, they need, and that's what I was saying to you. Everything you said about who you want to draft, good, but where you gonna draft them at? And my problem, as a Giants fan, you can't draft the running back number 2. You can't do that. Even if you think he's a world talent, because
Who was you gonna pick? A quarterback?
Yeah, I would have took Sam Darnold.
Shit.
I would have.
Shit.
I
I'll
would've.
take Saquon.
Well, now I would have took probably Lamar. That's what I would have took.
Damn.
We got
Food
the
for thought.
We got the white Lamar.
We got the white Lamar.
Get out of here.
Not
with
exactly.
That. Get out of here. with
Not
that.
exactly.
All right.
The white Lamar's in Buffalo.
Oh.
Allen, what's his name?
Josh
Mhm,
Allen.
Josh Allen.
I call him Cam Newton, the white Cam Newton.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate.
So, we're not. The games haven't started just yet for today's game. As far as the what's the first game?
Tennessee and Kansas City,
Tennessee.
I think.
Texas.
Houston,
Yeah,
Houston and Kansas City, and then the nightcap is San Fran. And the
Seattle at Green Bay.
yes.
In the snow.
13 degrees.
But we got
Really?
we got the opponents. You know what I'm saying? As far as the Titans, they gonna go face whoever between Houston and Kansas City.
Kansas
We got
City.
San Fran
Not
versus
so
gonna win
fast,
that.
my friend.
Kansas City
Not
gonna
so
win that one.
fast. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I got
I
Chiefs.
don't know. I'm
I
not
got
saying
Chiefs.
they're gonna lose, but I think it's gonna be a competitive game.
100%.
Of course, it's the playoffs.
And last week
Give me
I
the
said
blackest quarterback on the field.
whatever. and last week
That would
I
be
said,
Deshaun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last week I said I think that game's gonna be a barn burner. I think both teams are gonna score over 25 points in that game. I think.
I won't say both. I can't see Houston.
So
scoring
here's
that
the
way.
deal: Kansas City, can they rush Deshaun? Can they get Deshaun on the ground?
Yes.
Also,
I think they can get
Bill
pressure.
O'Brien, remember that he has a running back. Because if you run that ball, it's going to put Deshaun in a
No,
better
he
position.
does. He doesn't know that he rushes Deshaun Watson. You know?
Facts. Those are facts. So that's what we
Right.
think his running back is.
But I would say
Give Carlos the ball.
Steve Spags for the Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator. He won the Giants.
He's got a ring. He's got a
Two.
couple of
He's
rings.
got
yes.
two of them. He was behind
Yes.
both of them.
Yes.
They are
Oh.
been their
And they've
defense.
been playing
the
good.
last
They've been
for the
playing
last
good.
2
They've
weeks.
gotten healthy, B.
I know. And
Frank-
I mentioned that to them. I said Chiefs is healthy, and they playing football at the right time of the year.
Frank
They're
Clark-
kind of hot, too.
Yeah.
Frank Clark, even though he was dealing with injuries, I think he had like 8 sacks. They had another player on their team on the defensive line who had
Yeah.
injuries, had like
They
9
got
sacks.
your boy Suggs,
They got
who's got rings.
T Sizzle. They got Tyrann Mathieu.
Now you got Watkins and Hill back,
And
like,
what it was-
healthy.
Healthy.
What's the consistent thing about Spags when we in the playoffs?
He rushed that quarterback.
That defense shows up and that rush comes up.
Yep.
And the one thing that Lamar don't got is the
It's
offensive
O-line.
line still
Yep.
after all this time.
Yeah.
They gonna smack that boy. He got hit 7 times by the Bills. You think that the Chiefs ain't gonna try to do the same thing?
Oh no, they are. I don't know, man. And I'm not taking anything away from that Kansas City defense. I definitely think they'll get pressure on them. I definitely think they'll get them down a couple of times. However, we saw the specialness of Deshaun Watson.
He's special.
He's super special. He's
MJF
super
of the
clutch.
NFL.
And arguably has the best hands in the league to throw that thing to.
Arguably.
Arguably.
Yeah, arguably.
He don't drop
top
passes.
5. Yeah,
They sure don't.
Top 3.
top 3. I won't even.
I think it's
Number
only
one.
between him and Michael Thomas.
I'm
That's
top 2.
I'm right there with y'all.
Because my only problem with Julio is the health thing with Julio. And also, Ken, my problem with Julio, I don't necessarily think he shows up at the big time of the game all the time. Julio gets
showed up in the
padded
Super Bowl.
stats.
He showed up in the
He
Super Bowl.
did,
Yeah.
but during the regular season, he
People
has
say,
like great
I
stats.
was-
But his stats don't necessarily equate to we don't win the game with these stats. He don't catch the ball in the end zone. I don't know how many times
Yeah,
Julio
I
gets
feel you.
tackled
Yeah.
by the 5-yard
That's
line.
the OC,
Mr.
though.
Hopkins is going to get in that
Yeah.
end zone, bruh.
100%. And
He going to run around in the end zone.
And the whole top two conversation, I 100% agree with those two guys. And this is the reason. You know,
Arguably.
No. Factually.
Ooh.
And I have numbers, right? Like I like numbers
Okay,
to
numbers guy.
substantiate what my ideas are. And Michael Thomas catches 85% of his targets.
Does he?
85%.
And hold your point.
Mhm.
They say that he bails out a lot of Bree's bad throws.
Just watch 100%. Just watch the Teddy Bridgewater weeks. He bailed out Bridgewater too. Like Michael Thomas there's a reason why
And
he's
it's
the highest
crazy,
paid
'cause-
wide receiver.
Because they're both like the same, not the same receiver, but like they're both not known for quickness, but for somehow, some way they get
They get
separation.
separation.
Yeah.
and
They know how to
can
get
catch.
separation
And
very
and
well.
you never
So
have
who
to
has the
worry.
better hands?
That's another conversation.
Michael Thomas.
No,
I think Hopkins has the better hands.
I'm gonna say Michael Thomas for the second reason, right? Number 2 on that list of who catches the most, the biggest percentage of their targets is DeAndre Hopkins, and he's at 71%. So there's a 14% gap
So this
between
is what I
number
want to
1
say
and
to you
number 2.
about those two
Damn.
guys. I think that Thomas runs better routes. And if you run
He
a
is a
better
better route
route,
runner.
then you don't have to make the tough catches much because you're open. So you can just make a regular catch.
I got
Mr.
you.
Hopkins has to make some difficult catches sometimes.
I got you.
Like he has to go. He does whatever he needs to do to get that ball, and that's why I respect that, bro.
100.
My only thing with him is after you catch the ball, I need you to stay on your feet
I feel you.
because he's gonna go down.
Well, he going down because Deshaun Watson may have thrown it high or low or
Facts.
whatever. So
Facts. Facts.
don't
Ken,
know
I
how
would
you
love
get
for
that.
him to make that catch and stay on his feet and keep moving. I think Thomas stays on his feet and
Yep,
keeps
he
moving
does.
better.
He gives the
Yeah, and
yak
Julio
yards.
doesn't stay on his feet.
So regardless of who wins this, the AFC divisional game today, are the Titans the team to beat?
No.
all right, so
You asking
listen.
some strong
Hold on.
questions,
I got this one. I think a call has been made.
Mm-hmm.
They not letting them brothers get to the Super Bowl.
All right, bro.
A call has been put in.
Ken, are you one of those?
I am one of those. A call
So-
has
What you mean?
been
So what you saying,
made.
like Green Bay versus Tennessee Titans?
It's gonna
Super
be
Bowl?
it's gonna be Snow White when the Super Bowl is played. Lamar Jackson got hit in the back of the head and
They
they
didn't
throw
do
shit.
jack.
A
That's
call
right.
has
So
been
you saying
made.
Green
Hold on,
Bay
we-
versus you said Aaron Rodgers versus
Tannehill
Tannehill.
versus and it's either Jimmy G or Aaron Rodgers versus Tannehill.
Jimmy G.
That would be a
or
horrible
Aaron
Super Bowl.
Rodgers.
I said last night, I don't want to see Tannehill in the Super Bowl. A call has been made. Texans or the Chiefs are not going to the Super Bowl.
Damn.
No, I got the Chiefs.
They did the same thing to
Ooh.
Pittsburgh too.
Damn.
The
Ken,
one-
I wasn't ready. My mouth was open. I was not ready.
The one thing I would say,
Mm.
I like the Chiefs' chances against the Titans because they're like, it's like the unstoppable force, immovable object type of question. Because obviously Kansas City, they can throw numbers on the board. They're there on anybody.
Let's
And
not
but
forget
and-
But who gonna run the
let's not
ball,
forget Patty
Nick?
Mahomes
but
is
in,
special.
in the regular season, they did lose the Titans close though. But Patty Mahomes did
But
his
they was
job.
all hurt up. Who's gonna run the ball for Kansas City? This is my problem with Kansas City.
I don't think Kansas City.
You
needs-
believe in Shady?
I don't think they need to lean into their run game. I think it would be great if they could, but we've seen throughout the whole season that he can't.
Sir,
So
you need to
got-
run the ball to win championships, bro.
You don't need to.
You
Yes,
need
you
to.
do.
You need to run the ball to win the championship.
I don't think you need
But
to.
but not necessarily an Andy Reid's offense. Like we've seen
You
them.
mean the Andy Reid offense that has
I
never
know,
won
I
a
know,
Super Bowl?
I
Is
know,
that
I
the one you're
know.
talking about?
Look,
Because
Larry.
this is this brother's 27th
We're just talking about.
postseason game.
I'm just talking about getting to the dance. You know
No,
what I'm
we
saying?
ain't
Like,
talking about
I
just
ain't-
dancing.
I
We
ain't
want to
say-
take the girl home,
I
and we
was-
want to do the do after we get through that dance.
But you got to dance first, right? And you got to get there, right?
Facts,
You got to
facts,
get there.
facts.
You can't
There's
do none of that
steps.
other stuff.
There's levels.
There's levels.
You can stay at home and use your phone, but no, we actually try to do the real thing.
Fumble.
And we've also seen Tom Brady win a Super Bowl without a running game too, because that dink and dunk, it's a long handoff. You know, what I'm saying? So you can try to kind of get
Tom
around
Brady
it.
win the Super Bowl. Or Belichick's defense win the Super Bowl. I don't know.
You still got to score points.
My thing
You
is-
can't win no Super Bowl not scoring. Yes or no?
You can't win no Super Bowl not scoring. Yes. I mean, you look at the Ravens Super Bowl when they had those defenses, they wasn't putting up a whole bunch of points here, bro.
No, but you got to at least get to 14-17
And the
to win
Look
the
at,
Super
the,
Bowl.
look at the last 5 Super Bowls, all right? The last 5 Super Bowls. Do you need somebody to run the ball? Yes. You got to have a running game.
Because who was Peyton Manning's running back when they won, when they beat Cam?
When they beat Cam.
You can't even name him.
No.
Nah, I can't name the homie.
But you remember that defensive line and how they got
I
to
do
Cam.
remember Mr. Von Miller showing
Yeah,
up and
Von
showing
Miller.
out.
That's why I was saying.
Peyton Manning didn't win that Super Bowl.
No,
that
yeah,
Super
everybody
Bowl
know that.
was
Everybody-
given to
that was
him,
defense.
just like they gave Mr. Elway
Chris-
one
was it-
with Terrell Davis was running that
When
rock.
he had those 2 out-of-body experience seasons.
Yeah.
That pretty much got him into the Hall of Fame.
Who?
'Cause of
Terrell
those-
Davis? What?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, because of them 2 seasons. He had those 2 out-of-body.
Yeah.
I think he was consistent. He got hurt. But if you look at those 6 or 7 years, he's one of the best backs in the league, bro.
As a
That's all
totality,
right.
yes. As a totality.
Yeah,
But
he
if you
got
look
hurt.
at
It's the Dale Sanders
those 2
thing.
seasons he had was
No, that
out
was
of-
special.
right.
But
C.J.
also,
Anderson
to
was the running
FIFO's
back.
point,
Okay.
the defensive coordinators was at home going, all right, he's not going to do that.
But that's what I'm saying.
But it's funny and ironic you bring that up
Yeah.
because that offense is the Shanahan offense. And
Oh,
it's in the
really?
playoffs right now.
Really?
Absolutely.
And
His daddy was doing that.
I'm
Am I
saying-
wrong or right? That was his
Right.
daddy,
Right.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that was
You're
that.
right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, with we've seen a team try to do the same thing, or like a similar team like the Titans against the Ravens. We thought the Ravens was going to be able to beat them because of the run game and all that stuff. They were the #1 scoring offense in the league, and we see the Titans take away that. So I don't think that you need to do exactly what they do to beat them. I think you have to come out from a different angle, and Kansas City is the perfect team to do that.
Well, we believe in Mr. Mahomes.
Oh, 100.
We
Yeah.
definitely believe in Mr. Mahomes.
100.
But please believe, I think that Mr. Rabel, back to Ken's point, taking his Belichick notes, they're going to take away this passing game. You're going to have to beat them running that ball. And the question is, who can run the ball?
But here's
Run,
the thing. No,
nigga,
no,
run.
wait. Hold on. You're not going to
Tell
take away
it.
the passing game. You may take away the best option, which is
Tyreek Hill.
Okay, but they still have other weapons.
They
Travis
do.
Kelce.
And I think Mahomes can mitigate them trying to take that away.
100%.
And he's
He
become a
can.
way better quarterback because
Mahomes
of
could
that.
have beat him last year if he had freaking got the ball first.
Yeah.
He never touched
Yeah,
the
he never
rock.
touched the rock.
Or if
D Ford
Ford's-
doesn't even go to overtime.
Facts.
Yep.
Doesn't even
Facts.
go to overtime. But I'm just saying, like, I love this season of Patrick Mahomes because even though he kind of regressed, he became a better quarterback. Because
He's just
of
under
it.
the radar. He
You
didn't
can't say he
regress.
regressed.
He didn't
I don't think he
regress.
regressed.
I'm talking about from
He
his
was
rookie
You can't
hurt.
say he regressed
I'm
and now
talking
he
about
got
was
better.
Under the radar.
No.
The injury got him
He got
under the
hurt.
radar.
That's
I'm
it.
saying
That's
regress
it.
as far as that MVP season. He didn't put the same up numbers. He
I mean,
didn't have the
that's
same
a special.
impact. Yeah, that's the.
I
But
ain't
Have
giving
a,
Nick
who
that.
have a heroic
You
season?
Nick can't
You
tell
gotta
me
use
the man
a,
got
you
better
gotta use a
regress.
different
Right.
synonym, homie.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like who
he
you?
took a little step back. All
No,
right?
he did not.
Like who
A
had?
little step
I think
back.
he got
didn't
better.
Take, he
I
didn't
think
take
he
no
got
step
better
back.
I
as a-
believe with the right side of Nick. I disagree with left side.
He didn't take no step back.
No.
I like how he became intricate and meticulous as a QB. He didn't have to go for the big play down the
And
field.
why do you think that is? I
Because
think because he got hurt.
because he got hurt and the team got hurt. The
So you think
injuries-
getting hurt helped him?
Yes.
Tyreek
'Cause
Hill?
he couldn't run
Slowed
around.
him down.
Yeah.
Slowed him down. But then also, like, let's come on now. Andy Reid is a quarterback guru. And I think that this gave him the
Why
opportunity.
you on Andy Reid's nuts? I'm confused over here.
So is Andy Reid not one of the best coaches in the league?
Hold on,
Hell no.
we got to give love to Eric Bieniemy.
Are you out of your mind? How many championships has Mr. Reid won, bruh?
You know he's the rings guy.
I know he is a
Are you
rings
kidding
guy.
me right now?
It's not always about
How many
rings.
Super Bowls
What
has his
about the
brother been
context?
to?
What about
Are you-
context?
He's been to one.
One.
Okay.
So now he James Ingram just won. Oh, I lost. Are you kidding me?
I'm kind of. I respect Andy Reid as a
No,
coach.
no, I'm not giving
But I'm
Andy Reid
still-
that. I'll give
I'm
you,
still
I'll
with
give
the
you
brother.
regular season, just like I give you regular season Peyton Manning. I give you that. We trying to win championships
yeah.
around
I'm-
here.
I'm in the
I'm
middle.
sorry, I thought you said we're talking about divisional playoffs here. Playoffs going to Super Bowls, Super Bowl champs being awarded.
Dang, FIFO.
I can't hear you. Is the mic on? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm on the wrong podcast. Is that what's going on? Am I all over it? What's going on right now? I can't keep up.
Nah, look. Here's the thing, man. Andy Reid, regardless of whatever you say,
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a numbers guy. What do the numbers say?
the numbers say that he has one of the best offenses.
You
year
got
in,
more
year
rings
out.
right now than Andy Reid.
Yeah, I sure do. It's pretty nice too.
Mm-hmm.
Shiny, and black. But here's the thing. Andy Reid, let's be honest. How many better quarterback gurus are there in the league outside of Andy Reid? It's less than one hand that you could count on, right? Also, we look at those offenses that he had with Philadelphia, right? We also look at who the hell he traded up to go get because he knew, right? How many other teams could have made that trade for Patrick Mahomes? The Bears
You
could
didn't
have.
even have to make a trade. He was at
Yeah,
number
he didn't
10.
really- yeah.
He was at 10.
You
The
know-
Bengals,
Point blank, everybody missed on Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
They missed because we
Except-
couldn't see this at Texas Tech. We did not see this.
I feel you, but Andy Reid saw it, Andy Reid saw it, and he's been able to cultivate that system.
And the one point I will give, because I do agree, you brought up really good points. But the fact that they were one play or one mistake away from getting to the Super Bowl last year, that gives me hope for this season. And also,
I believe in Mahomes more than I believe in Andy Reid.
100%. I'm
And
right there with you.
My only issue with Kansas City is I think the running game, and I do think that Williams could run the game. I think that's their running back, number 26. I think he
D'Angelo
can
Williams,
run.
Darrell Williams.
Your boy Andy Reid always falls over himself because he don't give his running back the rock. So if he gives Williams the rock, I like Mahomes being able to shine even more.
But if he give him the rock,
if any NFL team in the playoffs with the best teams becomes one-dimensional, we're going to have problems.
Baltimore.
We're going to have problems.
but if he gives him the rock and he get, 2 yards a carry or something like that?
It's not
you gotta
necessarily about
Thank
the
you.
yards. It's
Yep.
about the consistent carries.
Right.
So they got to give that man the ball
Because you wear
20
down defenses
times.
that way. No
Not
matter
only that,
no matter that.
but you make
no
Mr.
matter how many
Mahomes
yards.
even
What do they do
better
best?
if the linebackers got to wait. You know what? We're going to stuff this guy again. That's cool. But now I got to make sure you stuff the guy. Mahomes becomes even more powerful with these weapons around.
But I asked again. Remember, I was saying earlier in the episode. At this point in the season, the teams, your patterns are what they are. You know what I'm saying? What do you do best? Do what you do best. The Titans have been doing what they do best. The Ravens didn't do what they do best, and that's why they lost. That's why I'm saying Kansas City, you put numbers on the board. That's
Vikings
your
did
job.
what they do best. Kirk
Well,
Cousins throw
and
turnovers.
I'm going to tell you this. I do think Kansas City's going to win today. And the reason why I think they're going to win today is because I don't believe in Houston's defense. I think that Houston defense is going to be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Mr. J.J. Watt is back, and I think he is one of the biggest defensive powerhouses in the league. But I also think he's going to get freaking hurt.
Yeah, because he's shooting them steroids up.
Well, it happens when you shoot those steroids, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. I could say a lot of different things, but we're on a sports show. He got to leave them sisters alone. But anyway, because he's trying to reach and he can't. So this is what I want to say. He's
He damn near blew that last game.
He sure did.
Deshaun
So
saved
let
him.
me ask you this question:
Right.
If Mr. O'Brien loses this game today, is he still going to be the coach of the Houston
Possibly.
Texans?
They'll probably bring him back because he
50-50.
won.
Because he
Would you bring him back?
I would have fired him
no.
last year.
No.
I wouldn't bring him back
I would
either.
have fired him last year.
I would have got rid of Dan Quinn, too. But that's a whole nother
You would have got rid of Dan
So,
Quinn too.
I think maybe you were going there or not, but we're looking ahead, and you mentioned them as a dangerous team. And I said this to Nick earlier today. The thing that scares me the most about the Chiefs or the Texans winning and playing the Titans next week is neither one of them can stop the run.
Mm-hmm.
And
The Chiefs can't stop the run, and
They're better than
and
the
Houston
Texans.
can't stop
better,
the run.
but when that 6'4" Negro coming
Now, I
downfield,
got to hold you accountable to that because I believe Tennessee's last loss was to Houston. Was it not?
probably I can look
It
it up.
was.
No, they beat Houston the end of
No,
season.
who beat Houston?
Tennessee.
Oh yeah,
No.
they did, but Deshaun Watson
No,
didn't
no, no.
play.
Yeah, he
I
did
think-
play, yeah.
Oh, he didn't play.
The game that they
Okay.
needed to win to get to clinch the division
Was
they
against
lost.
Houston.
Yeah, they lost that
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah, because they so the last season, the Ravens sat their players against Pittsburgh, and the Texans sat their players against Pittsburgh. I'm glad Pittsburgh didn't make the playoffs because we'd probably still be seeing the Patriots because Pittsburgh was not going to beat New England, and Tomlin will have another loss to Bill Belichick. So all is right in the world. But I'll check that real quick. But, yeah, man, I think Derrick Henry, I mean, he drug a 350-pound lineman yesterday, at least 2 yards.
He's so big that his jersey don't fit. Like, this man always his jersey don't fit. Am I the only one that don't see that?
No,
Like,
his jersey don't fit.
It
Bro.
just don't fit. Like
I'll tell you something else. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Alabama got another dude like him coming out this year. Najee, right? Najee's huge like
Yeah,
that.
Harris.
Yeah.
Najee Harris,
I think he's Derrick Henry 2.0, and he can catch.
you with this catching thing,
Dude, you got to catch the ball nowadays.
You got to be multiverse.
You gotta be
And it's not so
multiverse,
much
man.
that you got to catch the ball, but you got to be able to get a defense something else to look at.
Yep.
So now I
You
could go
so
over
right.
here.
I told you.
Look at that
jersey
gut.
don't fit.
Look at that gut.
Every time you run.
He said, "You so right."
Hey, Ken, do you notice how he also runs upright like your boy Dickerson?
Yeah.
You got that? Yeah.
He run like he in the club.
And he look like he's slow, but
He do,
Yeah,
but
but
the
he start
defensive
pulling.
players, right?
He
He
start
be
pulling. It's like,
right.
how?
Yo, I know Earl Thomas was so glad
hey,
he
they
didn't play that boy no
my,
more.
my in-law said he run like Forrest Gump.
He do run like Forrest. He do. He going to find him some Jenny.
So who y'all got? We all agree that Chiefs.
Chiefs. Yeah, I'm Chiefs.
Seattle, Green Bay.
I'm still sticking with my original Seattle.
Seattle.
I'm still sticking.
Why?
With that. Just because I just wanted to see a black QB go advance.
So insightful, sir. So much passion.
No, he
Yeah.
bullshit. He don't fuck with the division outside
Yeah,
of the Lions.
yeah.
Oh, he
that's
don't?
another
No.
that's another reason too. Yeah, I'm a Lions fan, so I don't root for nobody in the division.
Bro,
I don't root for
you
the
know,
Vikings,
being
I
a
don't root for
Giant-
the
Only thing
Bears.
worse than being a Giants fan is probably being a Lions fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nah,
That's-
Dolphin fan.
There's a
Dolphins fan?
Bengals fan
Nah.
over here too.
Nah,
Bengals-
yeah.
You're worse.
At least y'all
You're
play.
a
At
Bengals
least y'all
fan?
play in the Super Bowl
You a
though.
Bengals fan in public?
I'm on sabbatical right now.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you, bro.
But yeah, that's two of the reasons why
Oh,
I'm
they
rooting for
said- oh.
Seahawks.
Are y'all gonna take Burrows?
We got to.
Got to.
If
You
we,
don't
if
got
we,
to.
If we don't, I'm officially a Giants fan. Period.
Really?
Because I'm gonna be done with that franchise. Because we picked John Ross over Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. So that's the one sin that I
Wow.
can never forgive the Bengals for.
Wow.
Yeah.
You dropped the mic on that, man.
All right, that's all I really have for the games. So yeah.
I didn't get everybody else's picks for the
Oh.
Seattle and Green Bay.
Green Bay.
And why?
I think Green Bay has more. Plus they're at home. Aaron Rodgers still has a little bit of magic.
You don't believe in beast mode?
Yeah, and I didn't.
You don't believe in Skittles?
Oh, you talking about the Russell Wilson stat?
Yeah,
Oh,
they about the
man.
Seahawks said that they never won in Lambeau.
They
They
0-3.
0-3. They 0-3 at Lambeau.
Mm.
So that was
They
another-
8-1
that was
on the
like,
road right
wow.
now. So that says
Yeah.
those are
I know that's
complicated.
crazy, but
So
I ain't know they was 0-3 in Lambeau.
I didn't know that either.
So
Dang, Marlon Humphrey saying that the Ravens choked. God
Yes.
dang.
They
Yeah,
did.
you know the
You only
dog-
scored
They
12 points. That's a
did.
choke.
I agree with
At
him,
home?
but
You say
You know
it?
it's coming, Ken. You know it's coming.
oh yeah, they're gonna tear
they
Lamar
about to tear
up
Lamar
next week.
Well, that just means more ammo for him to get better over this offseason and shut people up next year.
Yeah, it's his
FIFO, let me
second
say
game.
something.
Right, second year.
I don't think Lamar's why they lost
Second
that game yesterday,
100%.
bro.
You know-
and so he ain't got compared
no.
to last year. Now last year he was the reason
Of
why
course,
they lost because
of
he couldn't freaking throw. But this year he wasn't the reason why they lost, in my opinion.
And remember what I said.
I think we need to go to the draft board and see how many wide receivers we can get.
This is the best year to do that too.
Yeah,
and
no,
I think we
100%.
also need to go get us a running back. And we need to
100%.
get some offensive line.
100%.
That's what I think.
I'm with all that. And remember, I gave the majority of the blame to John Harbaugh, not
You did.
Lamar Jackson. However, as the leader of a squad, you got to take that.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
And you got to use this
As
to shut
motivation?
as motivation to shut people up, even though you know in your heart of hearts you played as good as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't because of him. But at the end of the day, you got to get better because when you're great, you still got to be able to overcome.
Exactly. And now you know you got the MVP this season. So
Yep.
now the next goal, Super Bowl. Like
Yep.
nah, that's my tunnel vision now.
Yep.
Super
But
Bowl.
B, I wonder how that game would have been different yesterday if Ingram wasn't hurt. And
I
I know
know.
you can't
They was
play
missing.
woulda, shoulda.
Right,
But I think
right.
that was the game
They
right
was
there.
missing. 'Cause he a 1,000-yard
or
rusher.
like Ken said,
He a 1,000-yard rusher.
yo, Mark, we appreciate you, but go sit down somewhere. Gus, get us there.
Right.
One or the other, and that goes back to your point. John Harbaugh didn't step up and make a freaking coaching decision.
And here's the other thing too that I wanted to say, and I always say this, especially when we talking about playoff sports, regardless of the damn sport.
What you always say, you need a Hall of Famer?
No, you need to be able to impose your will, regardless, right? And I'll give you the prime example. Remember Golden State, Dallas Mavericks, it's a long time ago now, but the Baron Davis Golden State Warriors.
Well, you're going back, bro.
Yeah, I'm
You
going
know,
back.
Brown
I'm
Lake
going
kinda
back.
had-
Go ahead.
Remember that?
I remember.
And remember, were we doing a damn podcast back then?
No.
Nah, that was before.
Nah.
No.
That was
Okay.
like 2010.
But I remember having this conversation amongst the dead end family. The reason why Golden State won that, and remember, Dallas was the #1 seed that year.
And
Golden
Golden
State
State
was
with
number
Baron
8.
Davis beat him.
Yep.
With Baron Davis. And the reason why was because they imposed their will.
Steven Jackson was on that squad.
and-
He was
and-
bullying Dirk.
bullying them. And I remember clearly, I want to say it was like either the second or third game when Avery Johnson, the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks squad, started making lineup changes. I'm like, dude, you have the best record in the NBA. What the hell are you doing? And as soon as he did that, I knew they lost because
But there's a reason why
And
he
then
probably did it, though.
but But the reason why was because Golden State imposed their will, and the best team imposes their will. You're gonna play my game. Look at the current Golden State when they're healthy. You try to play their game. Why? And you can't beat them at it. And once you can do that to any opponent, you can win.
So who has more will between Seattle and Green Bay?
The playoffs. I thought you were going with the playoffs reveal coaching, and if it
They
comes
do.
down to coaching,
They do.
I know we can question
Pete
Pete Carroll
Carroll
on some things, but I gotta go with Pete Carroll.
But he
over
also
number
got
4.
some rings.
Yeah, he do. Well, he got a ring.
Oh, my bad. He didn't get the
Got
ball to
A-ring.
freaking beast mode.
Yeah,
You see,
he
they
would've
changed
had
that up
two.
last time
would've had two.
at the end of the San Fran game. That even though it was a delay of game, they tried to put Marshawn at the 1 yard line. But
Mhm.
I don't know. The Green Bay's defense ain't that great, bro.
So you picking Seattle as well?
Oh yeah,
But it's been, but
No,
don't
but
break.
wait a
though.
minute, though. Green Bay can rush the quarterback. So they have like two
But this-
people got like 12 sacks on the season.
But you-
So this is going to come down once again. Ken, what is it going to come down to? Running the ball.
Well, I would say this: Green Bay's defense is horrible against the run. I think, and on top of that, you talk about
They're better against the pass.
You said Green Bay rushes the passer.
Yeah. They're going to rush Wilson.
Russell Wilson is in the best division to prepare you for the pass rush. You
100.
got San Fran and you got the Rams. Like,
And those Cardinals games are always
Cardinal games are
no
close,
check
like,
offs.
come
Well,
on.
division games, you got to throw them up.
yeah,
That's
but what?
the
but
best
what-
preparation,
I'll
though.
give you this. I think that the Rams are a better analogy because of Mr. Donald, but Green Bay's he killing me now. You think Donald's overrated? Okay, we can talk about that. But this is my deal. Green Bay's pass rush just comes from their ends, which means that Russell Wilson is gonna have to step up into the pocket.
Which he's best. He's best at
He's
it's-
best at
you know,
stepping into the pocket or
the
rolling
top,
out.
The
Rolling
top
out.
two.
I think he's better rolling out, bro.
well, I would say the top two
he's
under
too
pressure.
short to roll up in the pocket.
The top two under pressure quarterbacks in the league, let alone in these playoffs, is number 1 Russell Wilson. Number 2 is actually Ryan Tannehill. Like under pressure, those are the top two. So I trust Russell Wilson to step up and make plays because that's what he does anyway. He has to do that anyway to win the game.
Well, I got news.
What?
The Cleveland Browns are planning to hire Vikings offensive coordinator Kevin Stefanski as their head coach, which means that another brother. That's why I couldn't focus on your question. That means another brother will not be hired in this offseason as a head coach. Eric Bieniemy.
They shit
did not get a
Eric
job.
Bieniemy's name too.
Apparently, he's not calling plays. Apparently, that's the thing.
But
now.
he's not calling plays.
No,
It's
I
Andy
heard
Reid's
different.
offense.
I heard
I
different.
know, but
I heard
they're
different.
saying that you got to call plays in order to get a job now as a head coach.
I heard that when Andy Reid isn't
But that's
speaking,
bull because the Giants just hired a wide receivers coach,
We
and the
know
wide
it's
receivers
bull.
coach
He ain't play-
never
he ain't calling
been
nothing.
offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. And
Right.
let me since you're gonna open up this can, let's go in there. So I think 70% of the players in the NFL are black.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not think that a black coach can reach 70% of your team better than a white one can?
Yep.
I'm just gonna call it out there. Or do you
agree.
think that the head coach isn't smart enough to lead the organization?
Well, I would say this for both cases. For the Chiefs, I think people don't give Eric Bieniemy that much credit for when it comes to the offense.
I'm one of them people.
Because I heard Andy Reid when he's not talking, Eric Bieniemy's talking to the team, and I heard that in the helmet, as far as the plays that Patrick Mahomes or who he's conversating with, that's Eric Bieniemy. That's not Andy Reid. So we got to give him more credit for that. And on top of that, as far as the Giants' concern is, from his resume, yes, it goes with your point as far as
Resume
like,
strong though.
But that's what I was about to say. The people that he worked with and the people that speak on his name, they say this is one of the best dudes out right
I
now.
don't
Underrated,
care.
under the radar.
I don't
type
care.
of-
I don't care.
give a
Yeah, me
damn.
neither.
They just
In
say
the
to
words
him,
of Stephen A. Smith, we got a problem.
Yeah, right.
Somebody
say.
say.
Yeah. We got a problem.
I thought you was gonna say this is ASA 9, ASA 10, ASA 11.
Yeah, man, it's
No,
crazy.
but I'm just saying, like, I think Eric Bieniemy eventually will get a job. It's just that
So I have a question for you. We just gonna give him a job because he's the offensive coordinator under Andy Reid?
no, I think
Because I like the resume for the Giants coach better than like Eric Bieniemy's resume.
but you also gotta-
resume.
but he's been under two regimes as far as QBs under Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. And it gets to a certain point, the student has to become the teacher or the master eventually.
Yeah,
you
but we're
can't
not
be
gonna
under.
give Andy Reid no master status here
Why is he master status as far
because
as
he ain't got no freaking ring. I can't hear you. Is the thing going? I can't hear you.
So only coaches with rings get master status. I'm just asking you that question.
I'm gonna say no, but I'm not gonna give
Andy Reid that
Reid
credit.
master status
Okay.
How?
because he ain't got no ring.
So
That's all he. That's it.
Regardless,
So you moved the goalpost for Andy Reid.
What'd you say?
You moved the goalpost for Andy Reid.
Well, this is my deal with Andy Reid. I think that he has had, and as a Giants fan, I'm very familiar with Andy Reid and the Philadelphia Eagles, bro. He had ample opportunity, and he always falls in love with the passing games and abandons his run, and that catches up with him in the playoffs. Let's see if he learns that lesson today. I doubt that he will. I'll take you a step further. I'm okay with Williams being a running back, but he should have stacked running backs ready to come in, and he doesn't. Because he doesn't respect the running game. You know, he comes from the Bill Walsh tree of football. So to your point, I think he thinks that the short pass is an extension of the run. It's not. Either you running or you ain't.
I think
I disagree.
whether or not Andy Reid has master status or not.
A
and
master
whether
at
or
what?
not-
What is he a master
No,
of?
I said whether or not. I'm not going to get in that debate that you two were having or you.
No,
three.
I was just saying,
But-
like, we got to give more credit to Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs.
and-
It's not like he's just it's not like it's me and
It'd
you
be
just
different
back
if I
there
was
with a
giving
hat
him
on.
a degree, if he had a ring as an offensive coordinator, but he don't. He got Patrick Mahomes is what he got.
But we didn't know what Patrick Mahomes was until
We know now.
What is
showed
this? What is this wide receivers coach's resume that you guys are lauding about?
So he spent years with Nick Saban in Alabama. I think he won 2 rings there, and then he's been with Belichick for 8 years. And I think he has, 2 or 3 rings there.
How did
He
that
got
work
5.
out for Matt Patricia?
Well, Matt Patricia's different because Matt Patricia was over the defense, which really means that he was under Belichick, and I don't think that he really got an opportunity to lead a team.
And on top of that,
And
he
when
wasn't.
did Joe Judge lead a
He
team?
wasn't.
He
just,
didn't, but he got to see how to lead the team, which I feel like
Okay.
coordinators don't necessarily get because they're so focused on their side of the ball.
Joe
So
Judge
I
led
don't
it
think
how?
that because you're
When?
a good coordinator makes you a good head coach.
No,
As
I-
a head coach, you got to be able to oversee the whole
I
joint.
understand
But
that, and
also,
I
I don't think
don't-
Andy Reid's a good head coach because he's so focused on that freaking offense, he doesn't pay attention to the defense.
My thing isn't about any of that. My thing is, why do they keep moving the goalposts when it comes to why these coaches are not getting a job?
That's why I said like
They
it's half
double
and
talk.
half.
They talking out of both sides of
Yes,
their neck
it's half and
because they will tell us he didn't get an offensive coordinator, but we see that's garbage because it was multiple people who got hired who wasn't an offensive coordinator. So then we're gonna say he don't have the resume,
Or
but
you
it
don't
comes
respect the
down
merit.
to they didn't want to hire a black man. That's what it came down to. And I think that you cutting off your nose despite your face because the players are black.
Right.
And they can relate to him, and I don't want to come across racist, but, a black guy can relate to another black guy in a way that a non-black guy just can't. Because there's an innate understanding of something. And I'm not trying to say all black people are the same because they're not.
Yeah, we're
You
not
know,
a monolith.
You're not going to meet somebody more bougie than me. You're not, okay? I get my nails done, pedicures, all that, all right? But I understand when I'm talking to a brother or we having nigga conversations, we can have a nigga conversation.
And well, I was saying
Wait,
this.
hold on. Do you think this is Jay-Z's problem now?
Where you at? Where you at?
But I'm saying this is his first offseason.
Where you
That's-
at? He
that's
got,
It's not even.
strong.
It's not even
I'm
the off
just-
season.
that's
This is still going through the regular
He
season.
got and I tweeted that out, but and I put it in the group chat. He got Kaepernick a workout. He can't pull somebody aside. What did they say? We got to be in the room in order to
Right.
make change.
I would say about Joe Judge, he wasn't just a wide receiver coordinator. He was also special team.
Yeah.
You only
special
saying this
team.
because he's a Giants coach.
I'm gonna say it
And
because
you
I
done
want to
found
say it.
reasons to
I'm gonna say it because I want to
validate.
say it.
Right.
A special teams coordinator, same way John Harbaugh got his job.
That's
and,
right.
And Ravens
Preach, Nick.
when saying the same shit that everybody was saying, like,
Well-
well, who the fuck is this dude? And all of a sudden he won a Super Bowl. And I'm gonna say this about Joe Judge. I'm gonna give him time. But if he fucks up, like how you were hard on Pat Sherman when he was fucking up, yeah, you call him out. But the nigga just got the job. It ain't his fault that he got a job.
And I'm
He
not.
applied-
And it wasn't necessarily just Pat Shermer's fault. Dave Gettleman don't know what the hell he doing. And a step further, I really think you got to give somebody 3 to 4 years. You can't fire him after 1 or 2 years. We live in a society now where everybody wants instant satisfaction, and that doesn't always work out.
The game is on.
depends on
and I
what
know
we
we
gotta
gotta
give him
get
some
ready to watch the game. But my issue isn't with who's being hired. My issue is who isn't being hired. And when you look at Eric Bieniemy, who's just one name that's being floated out there,
I would have took Todd Frazier over all of the black candidates.
We got Todd Frazier, we got David Shaw, we got Jim Caldwell, who
Yep.
was winning
Was
in
successful in
Detroit.
He's
Detroit.
still right.
We got Lovie Smith. I don't know if he
Now,
wants
you
to
could- he's
coach,
coaching
but
college,
he's
yeah.
not getting a.
Yeah.
But he got a ring. No, he don't have.
Oh,
a
yeah,
ring.
he got in the
did
Super
get a
Bowl.
ring.
Yeah,
He
But
got in
he
the
played
Super
in
Bowl.
the Super
He played in
Bowl.
the- yeah, he
He
coached
played
the
in the
Super
Super Bowl. But the
against
thing
Tony
is,
Dungy.
he has
You
a
know.
history of
Well,
winning.
Tony
and he-
Dungy, why is he not getting offers?
I don't think he won a coach.
Yeah, I don't think he won a
But he
coach.
got to the Super Bowl with who was his quarterback? Rex Grossman. So the man can coach.
You gonna call that a
and
quarterback?
And I'm gonna go to your point that you mentioned earlier about being able to relate to black players.
Mm-hmm.
They fired this man when he was coaching Jameis Winston. And towards the end of that season, Jameis and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers started to play better. I felt like, considering the tumultuous history that Jameis had coming out of Florida State and the criticism that he would receive, I felt like Lovie Smith would have been able to guide him better than Dirk Cutter did during his first couple of years in the season. They brought in Dirk Cutter, and Dirk Cutter was a nightmare. You know, so I think the relatability factor that he had, that he would have been able to help him a lot better.
But even looking at the sideline of the San Francisco 49ers yesterday, I think I saw more black coaches than I saw white coaches on that particular sideline.
Oh, yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
And I guess that goes back to your point, Nick. There's candidates out there.
Yes,
If you want to go find somebody to coach your team, you can find a black person. And I don't think that you should, disrespect us by just hiring a coach.
No.
They
We
black.
don't. Yeah, exactly.
But there are a lot of
Exactly.
qualified people who would help get you a championship.
And that's why
Yeah, we don't want affirmative action. They got to be qualified.
And that's
They gotta
why
earn it.
the Cleveland hire pisses me off more than the Giants hire.
But they're
because-
Cleveland, though. Come on.
Yeah, but it's just like the Vikings offensive coordinator over the Kansas City offensive coordinator.
Which offense is better? That's strong, sir. Good point.
And I guess the last thing, kind of going back to the resume that you guys are using to validate this Joe Judge thing, I detest Alabama, but I heard.
Can you say that on the podcast?
I say a lot of crazy things on the podcast.
Oh, you do? You should listen to all over.
Oh,
if you want to
man.
hear some crazy
Yeah.
stuff being said on a podcast.
But what I did hear about Nick Saban, I'll give him props for this, if true. And I believe my in-laws said this, and they're as pro-black as I am. They said one of the reasons why they like Nick Saban in Alabama is that I'm hungry. Is that he hires a lot of minority coaches on his staff, and that's why they root for him, because he's giving these guys opportunities. So let's see if that resume helps them get jobs in the future.
Hopefully it does. It helped Joe Judge, and as a special team coordinator, you get to see the whole team, especially the bottom half. And the Pats is best.
So you basically
best
say
part-
you think the Joe Judge hires is garbage.
Who is Joe Judge?
Super
gonna
Bowl
find
winning
out.
coach.
Yeah, 3-time.
I don't know if it's garbage.
Because we got to give a brother a chance.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we got to give that guy a
And
chance.
you know what? And I said the same thing about Freddie Kitchens. So I'm not going to
Now,
criticize.
Freddie Kitchens is different.
I
in my
understand, but
opinion.
I still said we got to see. And
you know
once
what
we
else,
saw
Ken?
it, was like, okay, we done.
They had a coach. They should have just kept him.
Greg
know.
Williams.
I know.
If they had kept Greg Williams
They
and
would've
let
been- yes.
Kitchens stay over here and play with Mayfield, I wonder how things would have been different.
I don't understand why they didn't keep that.
I
essence.
don't either.
Why did you have to promote
Because they're
one?
Cleveland. They're idiots.
And for all the people citing, black folks are 13% of the population.
Now in the NFL,
Yeah, thank you. When you have 70% of players, you
70% plus.
Yeah, you can have more than 3, bro. Come on now. So anyway, the game is on. We're gonna get out of here. I know some of y'all were talking shit about Joel Embiid. We're gonna get to the basketball stuff. We're gonna get to it. Somebody called him a fraud. So we got y'all.
No,
man.
that was not me.
Texas, let's turn it on. Texas up 7-0. So
Really?
Yeah. So let's get to it. And
What's up,
Low Man got a
Barn burner?
report. So we'll
You might be right.
holler at you guys. Appreciate you guys showing up. We know a lot of you guys are leaving now to go watch the game. But thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll be back live tomorrow to recap today's games.
We out.
Holla.
Peace.
Peace. So you want to come back tomorrow, Larry?
No.